Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome, everybody, to the ultimate Cleveland sports show, along with the Mad Hatter, G. Bush.
Yeah, man. The Big Circus, a.k.a.
I always wondered if I could pull that look off.
Oh, you could.
Sergio Ramdi in the building.
That's that future Hendrix look.
Yeah, that's that future Hendrix right here. Tyvis, you can get this off, man.
Tyvis is here, too.
I don't know if I can pull
Tyvis
that.
has got a big league plan for he and his wife.
Yeah, you know, it's just, you know.
Stretch.
Just stretch.
And we've got Mike, Anthony, and Steve behind the glass. Earl up in his perch up on the third floor. What is it? Second floor? Third floor? What the floor is he on?
He's up there on Kami's Lookout. Do you know what that reference was?
Kami's Lookout?
Kami's Lookout. Let me know in the chat. You know, shout out to Kami's Lookout. Shout out to Dinde.
Like looking for Russian spies, you mean?
Shout out to Dinde, Mr.
Then
Popo.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what it is.
Is that Dragon Ball Z?
Might be. Might be.
A lot to get to today, but we have to begin, before we get to anything else, with the regular season is now over in the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show Fantasy Football League.
I didn't make it. Earl eliminated me.
Tyvis, one of the biggest choke jobs in the history of the regular season.
It's unbelievable.
You beat me in like week 7 or 8 something, and you passed me for first place, and then you
didn't
crapped. You know what? After that.
So I come in and Anthony's
Didn't
like,
you make it?
I've been in.
G made it. Yeah.
Okay, so you did it.
Yeah, we got to talk about this, G.
Bull hit me up. Was like, bro, you didn't. Pickens is not playing.
Yeah.
And I said, bro, I seen it too late.
Yeah.
I was in 6 leagues.
You better be.
I got
you
0
still
points,
won.
and I still won because of
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
60 points.
I believe it was the greatest game by a quarterback in fantasy football ever.
Yeah, he just dominated. So shout out to Josh Allen.
So that was crazy. So Butters, one of our, some of you may remember, and a lot of our diehard fans remember everything on the show, which we love.
Yeah.
But at the beginning of the season, we had a contest to bring 2 fans of the show into the fantasy league, and the 2 guys that made it were Butters, and I know the other guy's name, but did he not use that name on the air? So should I say his name?
Just his name's Sam.
Sam, yeah, I didn't.
And they both participated. Were great additions to the league this year.
Yeah, now Sam, well, he struggled. Now the one important thing, unlike Jason Lloyd, Sam actually kept putting an appropriate starting lineup. But Sam, I think, finished dead last in the league.
Did he really?
Or near the bottom.
You know who?
No, I thought Jay Crawford.
Jay Crawford.
The Yacht Boys. That's right.
What is it?
By the way, notice
what's the punishment on
last year when the Yacht Boys had a good season?
Oh, Jay was
taking all kinds of pride. This year, every time we talked about it, it wasn't me. It was my son.
You know my son. I'm like, wow, you gonna blame me?
Throw Corey under the bus.
Hey man,
listen, they beat me in like week 3. I got in a group text with Corey and Jay. Oh yeah, them Yacht Boys. Yeah, okay.
But I, of course, the number 1 seed.
Do you get a bye or something?
I feel so mad, because I really I was rolling.
Well,
the CMC and the Dak Prescott thing killed me.
You were the 1 seed last year.
No,
I don't want to hear. We'll get to Anthony in a second. So you were the number 1 seed last year. Remember, the number 1 seed gets a little bonus.
Yeah.
And get a bye. The 2 seed also gets a bye. And that's Butters. Butters finished in second place. Now, the 4 other playoff teams that made it but don't have a bye are G. Bush, Earl, a new addition to the league, Zach Meisel, who actually finished with more points than I did overall, by a couple. And the final playoff spot, we do a thing, I do this in all of my leagues, and we did this the last couple of years, that the first top 5 seeds are based on your record, with total points being the tiebreaker. For the 6th seed, it goes in reverse. The 6th seed is of the 7 remaining teams after the top 5 have punched their ticket. It's the team with the most points. And so although Anthony finished with the 6th best record, he does not make the playoffs because his colleague, Mikey McNuggets, who finished I don't know, 5-9 or 6-10.
I was 6-8, but I had the third most points in the league.
But third most points.
Right.
You do that every
Disgusting.
year. He does that.
And so Anthony gets screwed
teams
there.
Every year has the most points. Like, he puts up a bunch of points.
Like, not the most. He had third most.
But he flames out like the first round.
Now,
So there you go. So it'll be I can't remember who
Me versus Zach.
Oh, it'll
G
be
versus
Zach and Mikey McNuggets. That's a tough first round matchup. Zach has a really good team.
It's the highest scoring and the third highest scoring teams in the league.
That's right. And then G. Bush and Earl in the
what-
battle of
what is
the
that?
man who's passing the torch.
Yeah. Listen, I got Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Sneaky Jerry Jeudy is on the squad, who's been balling
Been
lately.
good. Yeah.
And so, on the squad as well is we got the guy, Mr. Brown, from the Bengals, who was a nice little running back. So we came out of nowhere. Last year I was in the number 1 seed. This year I'm looking.
I beat you in the championship.
Yes, you did. That hurt my soul.
Yeah.
This year I'm looking to
Tyvus
spend.
will not be able to defend his championship.
I'm trying to spend you guys' money on
Feels like the Buckeyes in
shoestrings.
2015.
Yeah.
Shoestrings. I'm gonna use y'all's money on. I'm thinking I'm gonna buy my girl a bunch of rice, like a lifetime supply.
Leave.
She
I
loves it.
was in
Yeah.
first place.
From first
and
to
I lost like 5 weeks in
you
a
weren't
row.
even. You're not even the first team out.
I know.
mean, you finished 8th.
No injuries, man.
Hurt your
That's
soul.
bad.
That
So-
CMC thing killed everything.
Oh.
I should have never took him with the first
Took
pick.
him first
First
overall.
overall.
Total
Never took him with the
disaster.
first pick.
Tyvus, Anthony, Jason, Sam,
And Polk.
and Polk don't make the playoffs. I'm forgetting somebody.
Jay.
Oh, and Jay. Right. Polk actually did pretty well too. He had a competitive team. He finished over 500.
He was 7-7 tied with
or
Thomas.
7-7.
So
that's right.
so what do the Yacht Boys got to do?
Yeah, I want to know that
Oh,
too.
that's true. The Yacht Boys finished dead last.
Yeah,
What do
we never actually came to
We
a
did
conclusion on
not.
the punishment, but we are going to do another comedy show. I've been
Make
talks with Polk.
them
Yeah.
sit in the McDonald's for 24 hours and eat their way out. Jay Crawford.
I think Jay and Corey would self-combust if they had to eat that much McDonald's.
Oh, my
They'd go on a
God.
hunger strike.
No,
and
I
just sit there
don't
for
think that's
24 hours
happening.
In silence.
I don't think that's happening. But anyway, it's been a fun year. We'll see who wins in the playoffs. We'll keep you up to date. If you're interested, and if you're not, you got to listen anyway.
Yeah.
All right, a lot of Browns talk coming up. Deshaun Watson is out and about. Do we care?
No, we're gonna get to that because that has a lot of people
What the hell is wrong with
up in
people?
arms.
We got
What's wrong with
we
these
got
people?
We'll talk some Cavs. We'll talk some
Juan
Guardians.
Soto contract. We were going to talk about that for a minute.
Talk some Cavs. The newest power rankings are out.
That's
plus
right, the
Aditi,
Cavs
but
power rankings.
Let's jump right into
Go ahead.
it, Bull, because I want to make sure we have enough time for some of these discussions. So
Out
you can tackle
and about.
all of your NFL action on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if their first $5 bet wins. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to join today. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. We'll get to that Instagram post after we talk about Jameis Winston and DTR first. Tyvus, Kevin Stefanski said he is sticking with Jameis Winston as his starting quarterback against the Kansas City Chiefs. A, are you surprised? And B, is that the right call considering the Browns are now officially eliminated from playoff contention?
Yeah, that's the right call. Are you kidding me? Listen, you got the Kansas City Chiefs coming in here. And from now on, all the teams that you play, we talked about this being the rough part of the Browns schedule, whether they was in playoffs, whether they not, whether they was doing good or whether they was doing bad. This was the part of the schedule that everybody wanted to see if the Browns are for real. And obviously with Jameis in there, you get the best chance to evaluate your team. And I think about the last time they played Kansas City, regular season. The Browns, did you know the Browns was winning 22-10 at the half?
Yeah.
I had no idea
They was
until somebody
smoking
told me this yesterday.
They was
The
smoking
Browns was beating the Kansas City Chiefs at halftime, and then I think lost, 33-29 or something like that.
The Chiefs, for the even really going back to last year, there's been a lot of games
Where
you thought they were going to lose, and they almost every time find a way to win.
I'm convinced that everybody on the Chiefs is living right. That's what it is. They paying their taxes. They taking care of their kids.
God loves them.
They love
Harris
their wives.
Butker's not taking care of his kids. Only his wife is.
That well timed. That was so well timed.
But it makes sense he's hurt and not playing.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, that's
so anyways, with Jameis in there though, yeah, I think that he does give him the best chance. You want to evaluate the rest of your offense. I think that everybody will step up to the challenge. We talk about it all the time. You hear out the locker room, everybody loves Jameis right now. He is like the one thing that's keeping this team from completely falling apart. He finds ways to get people to play hard on Sundays, and I think that if you want to see where you're at, because that's really what this is about. Let's see how far you are away, even with injuries, even with not having a top tier quarterback. Let's see how far away you are from the Kansas City Chiefs, and the way the Chiefs has been looking. I mean, they gettable. Like they are very gettable. So I think
there's a lot of teams that have said that this year.
I know, and it's just the man hit the field goal off the upright.
It's amazing.
It's ridiculous, man.
They are the toughest team in the world to kill.
Yeah,
like
they are cockroaches.
It's ridiculous.
Do you know that basically? I watched a documentary that said cockroaches are basically. And you can't exterminate them.
They're zombies.
Yeah, they're like, even if there was a nuclear fallout, the cockroaches would live.
Be here.
And there's like a certain amount of immunity, like to resistance to all poisons, and like a certain small percentage of cockroaches. And as they multiply and divide and have offspring, they pass that gene to more people. So the more you try to kill them, the more resistant they are. That's wild.
They're a badass.
So when you get them in your house, how you get them out?
Move.
Speaking of documentaries, have you got real quick before we get back to this? Have you guys started watching the Madden football documentary?
Somebody just sent me a link of that.
It's great. And I'm not even into Madden. I was trying to play last night, but we couldn't. But it's really interesting.
What, Netflix?
I think so. I can't remember for sure what streaming service it's on. I think it's Netflix. No, I don't know. Maybe you guys could look it up. But I've watched the first episode. 4 episodes. Yeah. It's really good. Really interesting how it started, how they got him on board.
Yeah. It's on Prime.
Yeah,
there was actually it's on Prime. There was actually a Joe Montana football.
What you mean?
Before a Madden football.
So
they need to bring Blitz back.
But you gotta watch the thing. It's pretty interesting.
So one of my when I was getting out of school, I was in grad school for one semester. And I stopped going to I'm like, enough of this grad school stuff. I did. It was an independent study that I did, and they say you can do it on anything. I did it on video games. Yeah. Shout out to Dr. Catherine Axon. She went to OU. So I remember, and I was stalling on this 40-page paper. I was supposed to have done it. It was in the summer, and I was just waiting, and finally got to it. So I did this thing on video games. Yeah. And back in 2004, I predicted that online gaming would take over. Not only did it take over, but honestly, John Madden football was a big part of that section. So Joe Montana football was huge.
Yeah. I didn't even remember there was a
Bill Walsh had a football game.
I don't remember that either.
There was a sports talk video game. So they all split it off.
The only other football game I know is Game Day.
Game Breaker.
Or no, it was Game Day.
It's Game Day.
I used to have electronic
football. It was a Game
football.
Breaker?
Yeah.
Are you guys old enough to have had the little handheld electronic football with the dashes?
Yes.
And you had to move it between the other dashes?
Did you get the electronic football game?
Oh, yeah. Or it was almost like an air hockey type of.
And are you old enough? This was the first AI. Yeah. Do you remember where they used to have these games where they would splice up old film and be like, we're going to play the 1980s San Francisco 49ers versus the 1970s Pittsburgh Steelers. I
vaguely remember that.
And so, and I'm like, Dad, I didn't know they was playing each other. I said, those guys are old. He was like, this is all fake.
Yeah.
This is
pretty cool. I do vaguely remember that. Now,
but
circling back to it. Now, Tyvus, did you watch the show yesterday?
No.
G. Bush,
yeah,
who just a week or so ago, along with Jay Crawford, was advocating to extend Jameis Winston, is now out on Jameis.
No.
Wait a minute.
No,
you're out on an extension.
No.
Wait a second.
McNuggets, you see how they get me? These clips.
Didn't he say he's out on extension?
I said Jameis Winston might still be the best available player for the Browns, but I am now broken and out on the fact that somehow miraculously this is going to be some sort of
special thing.
Fairy tale.
G said he's out on an extension now.
Today.
Not out on him being the quarterback
next year.
ends up
Fine. That's where I've been the whole time.
Have I not shared with y'all what I would do if I was the Browns?
I don't believe you have.
Well, if you have, just
this is
do
what
it
I've been thinking about this.
Okay.
All right, now,
yeah.
bear with me, because I know how y'all is in the chat. Y'all gonna hear one name and just be like, nah.
That's right.
Nah. Just listen, pay attention. Check this out. So if I'm the Cleveland Browns, right, I would extend Jameis 1 year. I'll make it come back for next year. Mm-hmm. In this upcoming draft.
Oh, wow. You got a draft pick too?
Yeah, this upcoming draft. Check this. First round, you can either go wide receiver or tackle. I'm cool with either one. All right. If you don't want to do that, you need to go corner. Those are the 3 positions that I would probably go after in my first round, especially if I'm top 10.
Is there a wide receiver worthy of going 5 to 8?
Yeah,
McMillan, Hunter. Some people like
Hunter's going to go before that.
Yeah.
Well, you asked, is there a receiver worthy? Yeah, he's worthy.
Okay, go ahead.
The kid from Arizona,
McMillan.
I was seeing something about he's like my fear for him is that he don't create enough separation, because I was seeing some stat on Twitter that said something about
Drake London.
He like all his catches like 50% contested,
50-50 balls.
something like that. So like that scares me.
Is he big?
Yeah, he's like 6'4" athletic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Guys, make your point though. Yeah.
Anyways, let me get back to it. So either wide receiver or tackle. Second round, I'm going whatever I didn't go in the first round. So if I go wide receiver, I'm getting the offensive tackle in the second round, blah, blah, blah. In the third round, I'm definitely drafting a
cornerback.
No. A running back. I got to get me a running back. Okay. And in the fourth round, I would draft Dylan Gabriel. Now, why people say, why would you take Dylan Gabriel of all these quarterbacks? Well, hear me out. So when you look at the offensive line, right now the biggest concern is what? Left tackle.
Yeah.
Well, Dylan Gabriel's left-handed. So right tackle is Jack Conklin. You got him for another year. You're solid on that side of the right. So you flipping things there. Then on top of that, Kevin has shown you that he's not good with the quarterbacks with all the bells and whistles. You want a quarterback that's accurate. Dylan Gabriel happens to be one of the most accurate quarterbacks in college football. He's short though, so you got to maneuver your pocket. But
how tall is he?
He's probably like 5'10", something like that. Yeah, he's short. But you've dealt with that before because Baker Mayfield was short. So
he's not 5'10".
I know, but still, it's close.
Mayfield like 6 foot.
Baker Mayfield was like the most accurate quarterback, and that's why he has some success there. Plus, he's a humble guy.
But he hasn't been accurate in the NFL.
He's a great leader, humble guy. The guy drives all these quarterbacks is driving Lambos and Aston Martins. You know what he drives? Chrysler minivan, and it's the happiest thing in the world for him. So that's why I go. Then I give me some corners and safeties at some point too.
You want to listen? I would get. Now here's the thing about Gabriel.
He just lit it up this past Saturday.
I
know you don't. I know you don't.
He's just small, and I just told you like 3 weeks ago I can't do no more people under 6 foot.
So is that why you're out on DTR for the rest of the season, G's?
DTR under 6 feet?
Well, here's the thing. Bull said this about DTR, and I'm with him. I don't understand where this thought process is coming from. Like, we haven't seen this guy. Like, there's this thing when people say, we got to see what we got in DTR. And
you haven't seen a fair, week of preparation.
I mean, I saw him with a week of against Denver.
And he was actually looking all right until he got hurt.
He's always looking good till he get hurt.
Well, I mean,
I think it's fair to say we maybe haven't seen him enough, but another 4 games, is that going to be enough?
I wouldn't start him today.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, I'd start him like Baltimore, the last game of the season.
The only way I would consider starting, if I'm the Browns, if I'm Kevin Stefanski, if I'm Andrew Berry, and I'm like, I think there's a chance DTR is our next quarterback.
Starting quarterback, not backup.
No, I don't care about backup.
Let's see what we got so we can find the backup.
No, I don't agree with that. If they truly believe that DTR could potentially be their starter, then yeah, I would play him. But if they don't believe that, and they got to have an opinion on that by now.
I mean, he's been here how many years?
2 years. Then I don't see the point in starting because, as Tyvis said initially, Jameis, with all his flaws, and the flaws are bad, the interceptions, he still makes the offense much better than DTR and will give the other guys to continue to, show what they're capable of more than DTR can.
You just can't, Tyrus, you know this. You can't just, like, if I'm in the locker room and it's guys like Jerry Jeudy and professionals, like you know, that want an opportunity to win games and put their best film on tape, you're not going to go to an inexperienced guy when you're saying, obviously, Jameis Winston gives us the best opportunity for us to even look half decent.
What I would tell you is, if I'm a guy like, and I know a lot of people don't care about this guy, but let's say I'm Elijah Moore, and I say, yeah, we about to go back to DTR.
Yeah.
He going to be like, man, listen, him and Judy going to be like, listen to me. I done had my best 4 or 5 game stretch here with Jameis, and now you want to switch it up? And then for a guy like Elijah Moore, he trying to get paid in the offseason anyways.
Right.
Like, you messing with my bag. So, no. So I don't think that they really would be a fan of that. And then the thing about DTR,
now you can't
you
can't make the decision for that reason.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, it's only one thing to me in my mind that DTR brings to the table that Jameis doesn't, and that's mobility. Because DTR turned the ball over too, didn't he? Yeah, so what's the big difference?
Well, I mean, Jameis has a long track record of turning the ball over.
I understand that part, but I'm saying, like, what?
Right, that's the
what's your burning desire to go to him?
And I don't need, like, what are we accomplishing by seeing DTR run around and make plays with his legs for 4
everybody
weeks?
telling him he need to get down anyway.
Yeah.
I just think where we at is, I think when people talk about DTR, this is a product of us just, when the season go wrong, the thing that people want to see the most is, okay, let's see if we got a quarterback somewhere. Because the reality of it is, people are going to feel very uneasy going into this offseason with no obvious quarterback, right? People just don't want to do that at all costs. So it's like, okay, well, let's see if we got something here, so at least I can hang my hat on the fact that maybe DTR is somebody, or and it's like, and that's what I was saying yesterday. I just had to come to the conclusion of, and bite the bullet, like, yeah, you're going to be uncomfortable this offseason, G. Bush. It's going to be uncomfortable. Jameis Winston is not going to give you a clear cut, oh, yeah, this about to be much better. Now, Deshaun Watson, I don't know what's up with that. And DTR is not going to be some dude that you just like, oh, we found a diamond in the rough.
Now, listen, I say all that. Jameis go out there and throw 3 picks on Sunday. Get him in there. Get him in there now, right now.
If he's terrible this week, then
that's how it goes.
Get him in there.
That's how it goes.
But this game, I would start Jameis.
You know, people talk about flip-flopping all the time.
If Jameis go out there and throw 3 picks, get him out.
More information, you change your pick.
Can you guys give me an answer to, like, people like make you want to be married to these takes? If your kid come home and he got an A on the first test, but come home the next 3 weeks and got a D, and an F, and you say, what's going on with these grades? Can your kid come around and tell you, listen, you flip-flopping, dog? What happened to that love when I was getting them A's? Well, you're not getting A's no more.
As long as you keep getting more info, opinions change. If you don't change your opinion with new info, that's stupid.
That's just being dumb.
I think everybody thinks that you should just be mindful of what you say.
Of course.
Because when you say something like negative about a player, like, it's like, oh, that's where you stand.
Well,
that's how
ridiculous.
That's how people feel.
That's ridiculous.
It's just crazy.
Let me say something else too. Jay's been big on this. Like, he'll bring up Brock Purdy or a couple other guys. Let's face the reality. Most of the good starting quarterbacks in the league were drafted in the first round. That's just not that there aren't first-round busted quarterback. Of course there are. But think about this. Let's just go through it real quick, right?
I got the list up right here, Bull.
Go ahead.
As you were saying, I was looking through.
Chances.
These are the touchdowns leaders in the NFL this year.
Okay.
Joe Burrow.
First-round pick.
1 overall.
Lamar Jackson.
First-round pick.
Baker Mayfield.
First-round pick.
Overall.
Sam Darnold.
First-round pick.
Jared Goff.
First-round pick.
First overall.
Josh Allen.
First-round pick.
Jordan Love.
Jordan Love.
He was a
first-round pick. Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers.
First-round pick.
Patrick Mahomes.
First-round pick.
Matthew Stafford.
First-round pick.
First overall.
Yep.
First, number 11, our first non-first-round pick, Kirk Cousins.
Right.
Who was a fourth-round pick.
Right.
All right, you ready to get back to it?
Yeah.
Tua.
First-round pick.
Bo Nix.
First-round pick.
Jalen Hurts.
First-round pick.
Second.
Oh, no, he was second. But top of the second, right?
He was like 44.
Okay. All right.
But second-round pick.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams.
First-round pick.
Derek Carr.
First-round pick.
Second-round pick.
Oh, he was second round. That's right. My bad.
Kyler Murray.
First-round pick.
Brock Purdy.
7th-round pick.
Jaden Daniels.
First-round pick.
Geno Smith.
First-round pick.
Justin Herbert.
First round pick.
Jameis Winston.
First round pick.
overall.
That's your top 25 touchdowns.
And think about how many first overalls it was. A lot of first overalls.
Yeah.
Count Burrow 1, Baker 2, Goff 3, Stafford 4, Caleb Williams 5, Kyler Murray 6. 6 of the top 25 first overall.
Jameis is 7.
And here's the thing.
Jameis too.
So you
And
look
Jameis,
at
7.
You look at the best quarter. And has there been any really good quarterback that's been hurt all year?
No, it's been a healthy year. That's because last year they was all hurt.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
really
Nobody's hurt. Right.
Dak.
Dak.
Yeah.
Who was not a first round pick.
Third.
Yeah, I mean, Trevor Lawrence, but he hasn't been great.
He was a first round pick too, though.
Anthony Richardson was a first
round pick. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, every once in a while, there's a Brock Purdy and a Kirk Cousins. But for the most part, you got to get the guy in the first round. And then there's always a couple of guys from the second round. Getting a quality starting quarterback in the third round or later is a rarity.
Well, that's
Very
why
rare.
that's why you see this year in this upcoming draft, it might only be 2 quarterbacks that go in the first round. Because everybody else is pretty out on everybody else.
But all it takes, nobody thought Bo Nix was going to get drafted, right? By Denver.
Yes, they did.
They did.
Yeah, they did.
After 5 other quarterbacks had gone?
Yeah.
His odds to go in the first round were like -4.
All right, well, I'm wrong about that. But in general,
high, not necessarily, but he was going to be a first round.
Okay, but the thing is, what you said, Davis, is people may be, like the general public and the people that make picks might be out, but all it takes is one team to believe in whoever the other quarterbacks are.
Then you got a Kenny Pickett situation.
Right.
And it almost forces you to believe in it. Like, look, if you're the Browns, and this is the hard part about it is you go into it thinking like, man, we done got so much bad PR. Like, we don't like the taste in our mouth. We don't have a readily upgradable quarterback. You can see where they start talking themselves into it. Like, they're like, okay, if we can't get Travis Hunter, if we can't get Shador, if we cannot get Cam Ward, they're like, okay, well is Carter available? And he might be the first end off the board.
Abdul Carter.
And then you're like, okay, we're going to draft a left tackle? No. I'm not drafting no left tackle in the top 10.
Might be the best move.
It might be.
The Browns got to take this season and they got to address everything but quarterback.
That's a hard thing to do.
Well, you got to address quarterback too.
That's a hard thing to do.
Well, yeah, I just think you just running back with Winston, but I think you got to do everything but the quarterback position. You got to do essentially what Philly did when they was transitioning to Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
You got to do what the Dolphins did when they was almost done with Tua, what the Lions did with Jared Goff. Like, they just decided to say, you know what, we're going to spend this whole season and get everything but quarterback. And if it doesn't work out, it's only one thing you can think of blaming on this quarterback.
Those teams did that on purpose. I think it
yes,
just ended up
that
way. What, they purposely waited to get the quarterback?
Well, they had a quarterback. First of all, what I just said was all first and second round picks at quarterback. So you had that going for you.
Yeah.
2, it was like I don't know where they were positioned in the draft that they could even get a quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, I think they didn't know. It would be like Baker's last year. You didn't quite know.
If the Browns did this, I think they can help themselves. I don't know if they would allocate this much money, but I don't know where they would get the bag from. But if they was like, all right, we're going to give me T. Higgins and I'm still drafting a receiver.
Speaking of T. Higgins, did you hear what Joe Burrow said yesterday after the game?
What did he say?
Did you see it, Mike?
I did not make it quick because we got to talk to Sean.
I was shocked. He was like, I don't remember word for word, but he was basically like, oh, we're signing T. Higgins.
Yeah, all right.
Speaking into LeVar Ball, speaking into existence, baby.
He basically said
he must be giving some money.
He basically said, I'm getting involved in this situation.
Yeah.
It's like, these are my guys. We're signing them.
He giving the money back.
I hope he has that kind of power.
Yeah,
man, Jamar Chase yesterday
it's crazy.
He's awesome. That game was. We can talk about that game.
By the way, real quick,
a little later.
First player in the history of the NFL. Did you hear this stat?
What?
Jamar Chase, first player in the history of the NFL to get 175 yards, 2 touchdowns, 10 receptions in a game 3 times in one season.
Yeah, he's really good.
Thanks
for rubbing it in, Bull.
I'm not rubbing it in.
So you saying he's better than Jay Jettis?
I'd say so.
Okay. All right, guys, let's move on to our next topic. It's brought to us by Prize Picks, which is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you can watch all the winnings roll in. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When your picks hit, you can get your money back in as quick as 15 minutes. Download the Prize Picks app today and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONNFL on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even have to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game when you want. So last night, Deshaun Watson took to Instagram and posted this. Steve, you can take the video full when you're ready. He was on a date with his, I believe, fiance, and posted a picture and a little video from this. This got social media up in a stir. Bull, you quote tweeted it. I know I quote tweeted it.
Yeah.
So our opinions are out there. Let's start with G and Tyvis, and then we'll get to you. But G, big deal, no deal? Do you have any issue with Deshaun posting this on Instagram?
Looks nice.
This is the wildest.
Looks nice.
Let me compose myself. Let me compose myself.
They living good.
I think they're on a boat.
That does. It's a yacht. That ain't no boat.
Hey, now let me get this right.
A little wimpy looking dog.
Let me get this right. So, Deshaun Watson had surgery, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
How long ago did he have surgery?
He in a boot.
It was the week before Halloween, I believe.
He's walking around in
Okay,
a boot,
so
probably.
he had surgery. People, what do you want? So we sit on these shows, and y'all bombard me like I'm his agent. you bombard me. You know how many people added me about this? Like, and I'm like, bro, like, what are you guys talking about? I thought he was playing or something, catching the football. It was him, and I got to it. It was him and his girl eating pasta. I said, this is unacceptable.
On the water.
On the water.
It was beautiful.
Having
got the little dogs.
He just hanging out.
Yeah.
Did he say something about football? Nah, we didn't say nothing about it. Now, let me get this right. Every time I get on a panel, every time I go somewhere, people tell me, you know what, G. Bush, you can't have him in the building. We don't want no Deshaun in the building. We can't think of it. We can't even see his face. Just get rid of him. Get him out of here.
That's what they say.
We don't need him in the building. We need guys that's concentrating. Listen, no, under no circumstances can you bring him back. Okay, well, he had surgery. He's on a boat somewhere eating pasta. And I get, G. Bush, he's supposed to be dialed in with his teammates. Why ain't he on the sideline? He's over here while everybody's fighting to get scrap and get wins in the facility. He's sitting here having a nerve to have a meal with his wife. Yeah. The nerve of this guy. Y'all guys, listen. When I grew up, men was not jealous of other men. I don't care where Bull, Jay, or Tyvis take their wives. If they want to call off UCSS and go on, Bull will be like, yeah, I'm going for 4 weeks. He all just wherever he at, just doing Bull stuff.
That's more Jay Crawford.
Jay Crawford has a meal like that with his wife 3 times a week on his own boat.
Yeah,
we don't even know where the boat is. It's tucked away secretly.
He's the only one amongst us that can afford a yacht.
So my thing is, I'm just looking like, you guys gotta stop, man. You guys are telling on yourself. You guys, there should never be that much animus for another man when he's sitting there. I get it. Maybe your wife don't look like that. I get it. Maybe
not many people's wives do.
Maybe you ain't got no boat, and maybe you can't afford to be. But listen, Jay-Z said it. Men shouldn't be jealous. That's a female trait. You can't. What you mad because you push dimes and he moves weight?
That's a sexist line by him.
Hey, listen. Hey,
and untrue.
Hey, you cannot like that. This is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever seen in my life. And the fact that I had to go on Twitter and look at this and see it as grown men sit here and just get petty in their bag, Tyvis. This is wild.
Ty, before you go, can I ask you a question real quick?
Me or G?
I want to ask you a question, Tyvis.
By the way, do you have my tweet? Because I want.
We'll pull it up in a
yeah,
second.
right.
Oh my gosh.
Tyvis.
Is Tuesday not typically an off day in a regular week in an NFL schedule?
Yes, it is.
So if I'm going to use a random name. I'm just literally picking a random name. If Wyatt Teller posted a picture of a date with his wife on Monday night before an off day on Tuesday, would anyone have an issue with that?
No.
The floor is yours.
Oh, man. I actually agree with everything that G said. You know, I don't know. I get it. I get where some fans is coming from.
I don't even get that.
I do.
How?
No,
Can
because
you explain it to me?
It's what
Can you explain that to me?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Explain that to me, dog.
So this is what it is. All right. Watch this. They see quarterbacks that get hurt. For example, last year the example was Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow and I think Deshaun both got hurt about the same time, around the same time. And when you seen Deshaun in L.A., he was in the stands, in the box. When you looked at Joe Burrow, he was down on the sideline with his teammates. So I think the problem is people got that in their minds, and they think that this is, well, he's done with the Browns. Like, this guy he don't want to play football. He don't care about the Cleveland Browns. You know, I think that's where people's minds go when they see this. It's like, this dude, they done pay him all this money, and he don't even care about that organization. He don't be around, none of that stuff. That's how they look at it, okay? The fact of the matter is, one, it ain't much he can do anyways. It ain't much he can do but sit there and talk when he goes in there. Like, that's the only thing he could do there. Two, if he just got out of surgery, I don't think he's rehabbing right now. You got to wait, 6 weeks before you can even start rehabbing anyways. Three, if they are trying to move on from him, we don't know what the conversations are behind closed doors in that building. You know, maybe they are trying to move on from him, so maybe they are telling him to stay away from the building. If that's the case, what, he going to sit there and just sulk? No, he's going to go out there and he's going to enjoy his life. And four, before he got $230 million guaranteed, he was doing the same things as he's doing now. He was posting the same stuff. He's always been this same way. So I don't know why this is even a thing. It's crazy to me that we talking about, y'all worried about a player that can't do anything for this organization right now. Like, what? Who cares? Let him do what he do. I could care less. Like,
by the way,
it's a nice view. I would have been like, y'all should have. Can I go?
By the way,
can I go? That would have been the thing.
Does he even show his face in this?
No,
he does not. He did post a TikTok last night of him in a walking boot before they went out on the porch or the roof or wherever they are.
I don't know why they did this. I could care less.
We need an investigation as to where they are.
This is the problem. You know what, though? This is the problem with social media and anything. Yeah. Like, it's such a false reality for most people, you know, for like the average working people. Like, you see all these celebrities with all this stuff, and it make you jealous, and it make you like, why can't I have it like that? And
because you're not good at anything.
But I'm just
you're
saying,
not good.
But
you don't throw the football.
But like, that's really what it is. It's like, people be looking at these celebrities and be like, man, I wish I could do that, or how they get this and that. I don't even care about this. Y'all, first of all, y'all know I could care less about a vacation. My wife and I will probably. I ain't gonna say never.
No, you will take her on a vacation in the next 2 years. I'm gonna wear you down.
Like I said, I could care less about the vacation anyways, because I'm here grinding anyway. So that stuff really don't bother me.
It actually pisses me off.
I don't know why.
It pisses me off.
I don't know why.
Because if Tyvis is sitting somewhere with his wife having a good meal,
they'll say somebody gonna comment on it and say, "Ain't you supposed to be at UCSS?"
Like,
nobody would care if it was Tyvis.
Yes, they would.
No, nobody would hate on you.
Yes, they would. They'd be like, "Ain't you the same guy that say you don't take vacations?" I'm telling you, it'd be all on the count.
That'd be like two people. Now,
wait a second. You see this in a different light, though. So
to be fair, it would be a joke. It would be a joke if I did it. They dead serious about him.
They be like. Look, here's the thing, man. There's a lot of fans, and this is what makes me mad. And don't act like I can't say nothing about. No, I don't care that you rock orange and brown and you like the Browns, that don't give you carte blanche to say whatever you want to do and act like an idiot. At the end of the day, the dude is living his life. I don't have to apologize for living my life because you feel like you should be somewhere that he is, or you feel like I don't like him or I don't like what he's doing. The reality of the situation is this is the most ridiculous thing, petty thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's corny. Like, people is living their lives. If you think that you didn't buy Deshaun Watson, you don't own that man. And so when I get up here and tell people all the time, if I was Deshaun Watson, and what I would say, I would tell you to kiss my ass. That's exactly what I would tell you to do. If you don't like me, so what? But I'm not going to sit around here and live under a rock because you don't want nobody to live.
You put something on social media, you open yourself up to criticism.
No, you don't. You don't open yourself up. If you post a picture of your family, at Christmas time,
I don't do that. I don't post pictures of my family.
And you know what? You should have the ability to do that. And if somebody has a problem with that, that's on them. The onus is on those people.
I hear you. Put up my tweet, what I wrote. Put up my tweet.
So Bull saw this and quote tweeted it and said,
I thought you were going to read it. So happy for him. He has certainly earned this vacation. Now, what am I doing there?
Being sarcastic.
Are you angry about my tweet?
No.
Be honest. You could be angry.
I
thought it was funny.
Because it's sarcastic, right?
It was funny.
Like, but what you got to understand is people be dead serious acting.
Now,
like, they be like, I can't believe, like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Now, what I'm doing is when I got a player that I have soured on, like Deshaun Watson, like Baker Mayfield before him, like Johnny Manziel before him, like many other guys before him, I poke the bear whenever I get a chance. I don't give a shit that Deshaun Watson's out.
Because you don't care.
Having a meal with his guy. Anybody that's actually mad about it.
It's crazy. It's nuts.
It is insane because G is right. Those exact same people, and I'm one of them, are like, I don't want him anywhere near the team. I don't want Deshaun Watson on the sideline. I want him gone.
And this is what I've been trying
But people also did get mad at me for that. Which I think is absurd. Like my man Xavier P. I love him. Basically, borderline said it was racist to say that. Like, come on, Xavier P.
Listen,
I've busted Baker Mayfield. I've made comments like that about Baker Mayfield a million times more than Deshaun Watson. I love you, Xavier P. You know better than that.
People make jokes all the time. Yeah. Like, if you're gonna make jokes, like that's fine. Like, you're being facetious. Like, it's like, okay, that's one of them things. But it's like,
it's a nothing burger. It is.
It's I cannot. And the thing was, I didn't even see it. I was just chilling.
Yeah.
And this at G. Bush.
No, people legitimately got mad about this.
Yeah, they did.
People really and Bull, I'm glad that you clarified that you were just being facetious in case anyone didn't pick up on that.
I can't imagine that anybody really thought I was angry about that.
But people genuinely did get upset about that yesterday.
And I guess I could understand why people thought I was really mad. I was making fun I was being sarcastic and making fun of him. Yes, I admit that. Am I really mad that he's on a boat with some hot chick? What the hell do I care? Good for him. Like, she's gorgeous. Good, nice job.
And he didn't even put himself in the video. He's not even shown. And that just goes to show you all of that stuff people be talking. I said this before. Listen, there's a group of people that didn't like Deshaun Watson because of allegations. There's a group of people that didn't like Deshaun Watson because he didn't play well. And then there's a group of people who liked Deshaun Watson, were all for the move, but eventually got to the point where it's like, it's not going to work. He's not playing well enough. We need to move on.
Right.
And then there's a segment of the population that why they don't like Deshaun Watson.
That's right.
You know exactly why they don't. And stuff like this proves it, because it don't matter if he's playing or if he's on the sideline, if he's not on the sideline. We don't want him in the building. We don't want to see him. But he puts it on his personal Instagram, doesn't put his face out, and you got a problem with him eating pasta on a boat. Stop.
We don't even know if he ate the pasta.
Pasta look good, too.
Get up out of here.
I want an investigation into where that is, because it looks amazing. I want to go.
You and I were talking last night.
Yeah.
That could be a boat. They could be in Italy. That could be his mansion in L.A. or his fiance, girlfriend, his
See if we can get something from the side there.
But it looks like when you turn, it looks like it's a coastline. I'm not sure if it's a boat.
Yeah.
The camera's going to turn and say.
Pasta look fire.
Pasta looks delicious.
I don't drink wine.
That's
so
more of like a creamy sauce. I'm not a
me.
big creamy sauce pasta guy. I like a red sauce.
Camera's going to pan to the left in 1 second.
clam
You can see
sauce.
what looks like what I think is a shoreline, but
We over
promise it's going to happen.
We're examining
Yeah.
the video.
Right there, pause it, Steve, pause it. Is that not a hotel popping
That
off
looks like
there?
a hotel there.
Yeah, that's why I think they're on the
It ain't-
coastline
Oh, yeah.
somewhere.
It ain't even.
He ain't even on
I
the
think it's
boat.
like
Ain't on
Florida,
no boat.
baby.
Yeah.
That just goes to show you how many of us don't be on boats. We couldn't
Yeah.
even
Yeah, that's
identify
definitely-
that's a whole route.
Jay would have had it broken down in a second. He
That's
would have known that
definitely
wasn't
not
a boat.
But yeah, so who knows? This could be.
I do
his
say
house.
his dogs. He's got to get some manlier dogs.
And by the way,
Let's go toughen up those dogs.
And by the way, it looks like that's a 90s slip on. Like they ain't even going nowhere. It look like they just homestaying.
You talking about his
yeah,
fiance?
that could be a hotel, like balcony right there.
Good for
could be.
him, man. Hey,
Slow
good,
clap.
Good for him.
Hey man,
Let's
they
put
always,
up a poll. Did Deshaun Watson get some action after this video?
I'm not putting
Yes or
that in
no?
a poll. No.
I can know. Hey,
That is a
listen.
fine-looking woman
Hey,
right there.
Hey, listen. Shout out to him and his beautiful lady. I don't want no problems or nobody saying nothing. G. Bush didn't say nothing about your peoples. That is up to that is their business. Let
Do
that
you
man
think he
leave.
cares? Like he blocked me on Twitter.
He
So
blocked
he
you?
cares. Yeah. Although it's weird now on Twitter. If you block somebody, you could still see their tweets. Doesn't make any sense.
You block somebody and you can still.
I
see
don't
their
block
tweet?
people ever.
Well,
I mean, I
then-
used to, but I
Well,
haven't.
then
in
how do you
years.
know that, then?
Because I could still see his tweets. I noticed that.
Well, he blocked you. So
Yeah.
He can't see your tweets. You can still see his tweets.
Right. But it used to be if you block someone, you couldn't see their tweets anymore. Now that's not.
I didn't think that.
And remember,
He can't see your tweets. He blocked you.
Well, why would he want? Yeah, all right, fine.
But you can still see his stuff.
remember when people started when we talked about Baker Mayfield, right? We still
Did Baker block you?
I believe he did. Yeah.
Remember they used to tell her, "Hey, but the worst thing you can do is go around looking at people's tweets about you so good he blocked you." Like I don't got to see it now.
I don't block you. I don't do that.
The reason I stopped blocking people is because it gives them satisfaction.
Yeah,
You just got to mute them.
Mute
if
this
you-
much.
I don't
They
even do
don't-
that. I don't. Say
I
what you
very
gonna
ra-
say. What
I
you
do
gonna
once in a
say?
while.
Then I'm not.
I do once in a while, but rarely. I never block anybody anymore.
Yeah,
I have probably like 100 people blocked from years ago.
I've truly embraced freedom of speech for people. Say what you gonna say.
Hey, listen.
Just because there's freedom of speech. First of all, freedom of speech has nothing to do with Twitter. I don't know why people keep bringing up Twitter in terms of freedom of speech. Freedom of speech in the Constitution has to do with the government's ability to punish you in a way for your speech. It has nothing to do with an independent company. People keep using that free speech. It makes no sense. There's no relevance whatsoever.
say
Number
what
two, just because you have free speech doesn't mean there are no consequences for what you say.
See, I didn't say that.
This has nothing to do with Watson.
I didn't
Just
say
in
that.
general.
I didn't
Yeah.
say that part. I
Yeah.
said say what you gonna say. That's all I said.
Right.
I didn't
Like,
say
I'm
it wasn't
free-
gonna be consequences.
I'm free to say whatever I want. Doesn't
I
mean
never
there's
said
won't
it
be
would be
any
consequences.
for what I
Say what you gonna say.
Yeah.
And you know,
Let me know how you feel.
we shouldn't be surprised. We just shouldn't be surprised no more. Like, you know, like this is where we are when it comes to Twitter and stuff like that. The problem I've always had is this, man. Like, to a certain extent, people believe that amount of money makes you vulnerable to the worst things in the world. Because if you pay me a lot of money, that means you can strip my humanity. If you pay me a lot of money, I'm not a human anymore. If you pay me a lot of money, I can say anything I want to you because the money justifies my rhetoric or what. That's not how, I don't know where people got that from. And I got an issue with that. Like, just because that person has a lot of stuff, it just goes to show you how many miserable people is in life. Like they really value money that much. Like, we talk about it like constantly. And for somebody to literally go out and try to enjoy their life and to just think about it, guys. Yeah. The last time he was on the field, he got booed.
Yeah.
When his career could have been over. And then
career may be over.
His career may be over.
Yeah.
And then now he has surgery. Then after that, we speculate and says we don't even want him in the building anymore.
Yeah.
And now he's just having pasta, and you're like, look at this, you know what, sitting here hanging out, and had a nerve to eat some food, bro. Save that. I don't.
There is a sense of what I do find funny from a lot of people is that people will get angry when a player makes a lot of money, but they don't get angry at the owners that, were born on third and think they got a triple.
Well, I think the reason that they are angry at him is because they felt like...
Well, in Deshaun's case, there's more to it. It's not that simple.
Well, no,
but in general,
not even the off-the-field stuff. I just think that they felt like he wasn't worth the money that he got paid.
Well, he hasn't turned out to be, but whatever. It is what it is.
I think that's what people...
You're worth whatever somebody's willing to pay you.
But even the people that are worth it. So if I go to training camp and I say I need a new contract, you know how many people in the fan base flip on you? When Jamar Chase was like, I want my money. I can't believe Jamar Chase is asking for this money. What's wrong with him? Like,
listen,
I don't know.
Wait a minute. Let's pause. Let's say this. Okay. Let's say if that was Patrick Mahomes and Brittany Mahomes Monday night posting that,
nobody would care.
My point exactly.
Right. I mean, listen.
What are you talking about?
It's not apples to apples, but G is right that in general.
I'm just saying the reason that people are upset is because they feel like he stole money.
Whoa.
But players do take more crap in general because we know how much money they make, and a lot of people are like, I should be making that money, and it is.
Well, that's like
there is jealousy
about that part.
I even got a problem with the word stolen money, that's wild.
He stole some money.
No,
hold on now, because I didn't see people steal some money.
I'm just not show up.
And the NFL wouldn't let me steal none. I'm jealous.
I got right. They
wouldn't let me get all this money. These players be just throwing around.
There's an insinuation there when you say stealing money.
It's just
from some people.
It's just come on, man.
It's unfortunately the way the world is.
It's just I'm not, and whatever I'm saying right now is not going to change none of them folks' mind.
No.
G. Bush again. He's out here protecting us. Protecting a predator. No. I'm just if it was you, if it was Bob and Illyria, and somebody was doing the same thing to Bob and Illyria, I'd say the exact same thing.
Leave Bob alone.
Bob alone. Let Bob have his pork chop sandwich.
That's right.
Over at the local barbecue spot.
Or Pickle Bill.
Well, speaking of people who are jealous of people's money, that brings us to the Juan Soto contract and how the impact of that contract affects baseball and the Guardians. We're going to get to that after a quick word from the Ice Shaker. I know you guys, just like me, haven't finished your holiday shopping, and it's okay. There's still plenty of time. If that is the case, we've got the perfect gift for a passionate sports fan in your life. Perhaps you've heard of the Ice Shaker. Well, the Ice Shaker is now an officially licensed product with the NFL, NHL, NBA, NCAA, and Major League Baseball, and it makes it the ideal gift. It's created by and used by the Gronkowski brothers. Ice Shakers have sold over 1 million bottles. They've changed the game with their workout bottles, and this is the gift you've been looking for. If you go to iceshaker.com, use promo code LOCKEDONNFL at checkout, you can save 25% off your order. That's what it looks like. You can get them customized with any logo you want. It's kitchen-grade stainless steel. It doesn't absorb odor like the plastic bottles. Plus, its patented twist-in agitator breaks up powders but is silent when you shake it instead of making that annoying noise the metal ball makes. Order your team-branded bottles today at iceshaker.com. Use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for 25% off your order. Ice Shakers, show your support for your teams with the best branded workout bottles on the market. That is the Ice Shaker. Bull.
Yes.
Juan Soto signed a gigantic deal with the New York Mets.
Every time, speaking of what G. Bush was just saying, every time a baseball player gets a huge contract, and in the world, these I get it. They're so crazy. People get so angry about these contracts.
Well, Bull, with this one in particular, I saw a great breakdown of how the $765 million deal over 15 years breaks down. Steve, take this full real quick.
Yeah, it's a lot heavy in the first few years. I'm
just saying overall, it's going to make $314,000 per game. For the next 15 years, he's making $140,000 a day. He's making $5,840 per hour, and he's making $97 per minute over the course of this contract.
First of all,
good for him, man.
People get all worked up with baseball contracts in particular, and they compare them to football. I saw this thing like Juan Soto's going to make more than LeBron and Tom Brady. Well, I know it's a different type of physical sport. I get it. But in baseball, you play 162 games. In football, you play 17 games.
People forget the fact that the money goes up every year.
That's right.
So, like, it's crazy because in 10 years, we'll look at this like he was getting chump change compared to what they're getting now.
And here's the thing. If teams couldn't afford it, they wouldn't pay him. Not only did the Mets pay him $765 million, there were 5 teams in the ballpark of that money.
The Yankees
5.
Yankees offered them more.
Dodgers,
Red Sox,
and Blue Jays. They were all somewhere in that ballpark.
Notice you
so
didn't
don't
say the
tell
Guardians.
me now. I get it. If you're a fan of the Guardians, it's frustrating because you can't get players like that. I get it. I understand. But the problem is not the Mets or the Yankees. The problem is the ownership of the smaller market teams. They don't spend, and they've conned so many of our fans into believing that they can't spend. And why we believe these guys, I have no idea. I'll never understand it. If it was true, why would they be why would they be so big about hiding their books? And I don't remember what the Dolans, and the Dolans do a lot of good things as owners. I've said this a million times, besides spending. And I know sometimes people think that's all that matters. It's not, but that's an important thing, and that's But the Dolans, I can't remember what Mike, can you look up what they bought the Guardians for?
Okay, one sec.
Because all I know is when they do sell the team for good, they're going to make an incredible profit. So I don't want to hear, and then the excuse is always, well, they don't have the money on hand. Well, if they can't afford it, then sell it because they're going to make.
So in the year, real quick, in the year 2000, they bought the Guardians for $323 million.
$323 million. What's the evaluation of the Guardians right now?
Almost $1 billion.
Probably more than that.
I think it was 900 last time I checked. 990 something.
According to Forbes, the Guardians are the 24th most valuable Major League Baseball team at $1.35 billion.
Oh.
All right. So that means that in 20 years, they could sell it, and by the way, they'd sell it for more than that. They'd make $1 billion. $1 billion.
Ain't that nice?
In 20 years.
Must be nice.
Which I don't begrudge them, but don't tell me you can't spend.
So you feel the same way about Cincinnati Bengals owner?
100% now. I will give Mike Brown a little bit of credit that he has. I mean, he did pay Joe Burrow. Now, if you don't pay Chase, especially Chase, I want him to pay Chase and Higgins. But if he doesn't pay,
what if he ain't got the money?
He's got the money. Don't give me that shit. I don't believe that.
See, this is the problem. The problem, and feel free. This is one of the episodes people just get mad about. Yeah.
Oh,
man. We talk about how we don't like the elite in this country, and the elite do this, and the elite do that, and the elite got this. But you are talking about people that are making this money that are pretty much first generation people that grew up on nothing.
95% of the case.
When it comes to baseball and when it comes to football, when it comes to sports, first generation people with no money, no nothing, growing up on nothing.
I mean, there's probably a few guys.
It's a few guys that got it, but not many.
Yeah.
So you meaning to tell me that you are mad every time they get money, but you never question how in the heck can somebody have enough money to give somebody $765 million in the first place?
Right.
The owner has $21 billion. And I don't know whether it's because we can't visualize how much $1 billion is, or we don't know.
Maybe one day.
Or we already agreed that we'll never see that type of money, and these people are not close to you at all.
That might be too much money.
But you will get to a place where you say, oh, well, I'm going to take it out on the guy that's close to you, that's more like you than anything.
That's what the billionaires want. They want us, the Republicans and Democrats, hating each other and fighting each other.
It's about rich and poor.
Yeah.
And so my thing is, we talk about it. These guys are. I love the fact that everybody, corporations, everybody, they love capitalism. They love it. They love it till the cows come on. Deregulate, capitalism, least amount of taxes. Let me decide what I want to do with my money. That's
right.
what we preach. But every time we get to somebody who happens to be an athlete or get a bag of money, then it's all of a sudden you penny pinching, you counting. What happened to? I thought you didn't like socialism.
That's right. Well,
I thought you did. I thought you were supposed to want the money. Right. Everybody get the most money they can get. Right? I thought that's what we was doing.
That's the whole point of being here.
Billionaires want their profits to be capitalism and their losses to be socialism. That's what they want.
Wild to me. Like, so I get it. We may never see that type of money, but you can't. You got to serve one master.
Good for Juan Soto.
Good.
Good for him.
Who's mad at Juan Soto? And
by the way, it's good for Yankee fans are so bitter right now, and I love it. By the way,
why?
This is actually, in a weird way, good for the Guardians because your toughest competitor last year, the Yankees, just lost their best player.
No.
And he's their best hitter. He's more clutch than Aaron Judge. I know he and Judge are 1A, 1B in terms of their best player, but they lost. And now Yankee fans are like that idiot Nick Totoro, the actor's on. Calling the Mets Fredo, and he's on there saying, oh, he's not loyal. The Yankees have been stealing players from other teams for 40 years. Who gives a crap if anybody's loyal to the Yankees?
When I was explaining to Tigers, it was what he said. You said who has a problem with Soto?
Yeah, who got a problem with this?
No, every time I was answering what Bull said. Every time somebody gets a really good big contract, the first thing people do is, we need a cap. We need to figure this out.
Right.
This is way too much money.
Who said that?
We was on the show yesterday. Jason Lloyd said we need a cap.
He didn't say it on the air, but yeah.
We need a cap?
Yeah.
I mean, get as much money as you possibly can.
If I'm
I ain't never ever hating on nobody. If I was him, I'd be sitting there trying to figure out how can I get up. Don't he got in this contract that after 5 years he can really go? I would opt out and see if I can get $1 billion.
By the way, the Mets can void his opt-out by paying him like even more. That would put the contract up over $800 million. $800 million.
I'd go crazy, opt out, and try to get $1 billion.
The one thing I will say, I think the majority of fans that are mad are more mad at the sport than they are at Juan Soto. They just hate the inequities of it. And I get it. You want... To me, a salary floor is more important than a salary cap.
I would agree.
Let me ask, does this, in baseball, because you know how in football, like, you have a cap, like you have a salary cap.
Sure.
So is there not, like, one for the Mets team?
So there's a...
Because, like, in basketball, if you get, like, when the Heat had the big three, like, they had to get players off the street.
So technically, they don't call it a cap in baseball. There really is no cap. There is what I would call a soft cap in baseball. So when you're over a certain amount of money, at this point I don't remember how much it is. Certainly the Mets are over it, the Yankees, Dodgers, couple teams. If you're over these caps, then you have to pay penalties.
Okay.
But if the owner, it's just like the NFL. Jimmy Haslam, he's been willing to just pay. It's the same thing like right now for the Cavs, Dan Gilbert is over the first apron, so there's penalties for that. Yeah. The difference is, in basketball and football, the penalties are stronger. Because there is a limit to how much you can go.
Because it makes it prohibitive to fill your roster.
Right. If you're willing to spend in baseball, then there's really no cap. You just have to pay more money into the coffers, but it's not insane amount. For guys who are multi-billionaires, the payments.
So Jason off the air is insinuating that he would rather go like basketball, where the NBA is now.
He thinks it would be better for the sport overall if there was a salary cap, which is probably true. But if I'm a baseball player, I'm not agreeing to that. So anyway, we'll continue.
We got Mary Kay, so let's bring Mary Kay. And after a quick word from FanDuel, get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets if their first $5 bet wins. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And with that, we're going to welcome in Mary Kay to the show. And Mary Kay just put out an article moments ago on Cleveland.com that Deshaun Watson is in Miami rehabbing, which is where this video is from.
Yeah, I just said Florida. That was my prediction.
Yep. So Mary Kay officially confirmed that for us. Thank you for that. Very important investigative journalism there, Mary Kay.
Mary Kay,
you're welcome.
Are the Browns thinking about heavy fines for Deshaun Watson for eating Italian food on a balcony?
No, actually, this is all team approved. This is part of his rehab protocol. His trainer, his personal trainer, Billy Voltaire, has a gym down there, and Deshaun bought a house down there more than a year ago. So the team knows all about this. He goes back and forth between Miami and Cleveland, and this is not something that is catching the Browns by surprise by any stretch.
Okay, I'm glad you was able to clear that up because
don't you say he bought a house down there, Mary Kay. They gonna be mad at that. How dare he buy a house?
I'd have a house everywhere. You have one house in every state.
Did I say that?
Mary Kay, I want to ask you about something more Brown in right now. You know, right now. G-New went out with a hamstring. Do you know if it was something that could keep him out of this week's game, or do you think it was something that's minor? What do you know about G-New's hamstring?
Well, he said he felt something pop, and that's never good when a guy feels something pop in a leg like that. So he's going to miss some time, is the way that Kevin Stefanski put it. And to me, that means multiple weeks. So I don't know if we'll see Greg Newsome again this season. Maybe we will in the final 2 games or something like that. But missing some time, he didn't even say week to week. He just said he's going to miss some time. He didn't qualify it. But we'll have to see how this goes. I believe he will be ruled out soon for this coming game against the Chiefs.
So who steps up with the dances now? Who is the guy on the defense, since we won't get the one dance no more?
We missed those.
What we going to see now? Who is the guy?
Well, there's still a lot of dancers on the defense, so we'll have to see who can fulfill that role. But certainly Greg was one of the best.
This is one we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Still haven't heard much, and the Browns have really been mum on it. Have you heard anything about JOK? Any timetables? Any diagnosis or what it is that he's dealing with at this point? It's been obviously very noticeable on the Browns defense. It looks like you have Myles Garrett. The defense doesn't look as fast. Obviously, when you miss JOK, you have an issue with that. Are they optimistic that he'll be able to come back and be ready to go in the offseason or next year?
Well, here's the thing, and I've been writing a lot about this, and that is the fact that when you have these neck injuries, and even in the case of like a stinger back with Greedy Williams back in the day, you don't know when the nerve is going to respond or whatever body part is damaged is going to respond and how the strength is going to come back in the range of motion. And that is the case with this neck injury. You just don't really know how it's going to go and when you're going to have that feeling, that movement, that motion back in it the way that you need it to go out there and play football. I don't think we're going to see him the rest of this season. I'd be surprised if we do. And then I think it's just going to be a matter of working through it in the offseason and continuing to have regular periodic MRIs and find out how that's all going to go. It's, again, the neck was compressed. It was a very scary injury, and maybe he will make it back by the beginning of next season. Maybe he'll make it back in time for training camp. We don't really know how this is going to go yet, and even the Browns don't know, because it is not like a broken bone or a torn ligament. A neck injury, in some respects, kind of has a mind of its own, and we'll just have to see where this is going to go.
This really sucks. I mean, from a personal standpoint, he seems like a fine young man, but from a football standpoint, I mean, he's one of their best young. They don't have that many good young players, so he's one of their best young players. It's a real shame. Go ahead, Mary Kay. Do you want to say something to that?
I was going to say he's a Pro Bowl caliber linebacker.
Yeah.
And it is really a shame if he isn't going to be able to make it back in a timely fashion. Let's hope he makes it back at all. Sorry, I have my ladder back there. You can see that I was getting ready to put the lights on the Christmas tree. And yes, I do myself too. And I didn't realize that I was showing my ladder back there in the back.
That's completely appropriate, Mary Kay. We are Christmas tree friendly here on the Ultimate Cleveland.
Yeah, I just have to hope not to fall off of it. I fell off of it one year and hit my head on the mantle.
Oh my God!
Whoa! That's a
and I was questionable for the game that year, but I made it. But I did have a concussion. I went to the game after falling off the ladder, and here's what I've learned: do not climb on the ladder with heels. Which I always wear heels because I am petite. But really, when you climb up the ladder to put the lights on the Christmas tree, not a good time to wear the heel.
Now, did you have an independent neurologist clear you from the concussion protocol? That's what we have to know. Or is there some shady stuff here?
I did go to the emergency room, and I did get clearance that I was allowed to go to the game. But not going to do that this time. But anyways,
on a much lighter note, Mary Kay, let's talk about the quarterbacks who were on the field. Obviously, Jameis played his worst game this past week. A lot of people want to see DTR. On this panel, none of us are dying to see DTR, but there are some people. Kevin Stefanski said on Sunday, I think it was, that it was still going to be Jameis. Do you think when he next speaks, there's any chance he'll change his mind for this week, and or one more bad game could we see DTR? What do you expect?
Well, we did not hear about the Jameis thing until Monday, so that was during the Monday press. And so because of that, because he had time to process it, come home from Pittsburgh, watch the film, I don't think he's going to change his mind. I think this is Jameis' game against the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think that's the way that it should be. I don't think you should throw DTR against the 12-1 Kansas City Chiefs when he's not in rhythm with the offense right now. The receivers, the offensive line, they're all in the flow right now with Jameis to the point where he's passing for a league-high 329 yards per game right now. Again, there are a lot of interceptions. Those are obviously unacceptable, but to throw DTR in there against this number 8 ranked defense, really kind of used to playing with him, I just don't think that's the right way to go. So I support this decision. I actually wrote it before Kevin Stefanski made this decision, but I do think that there is some merit to seeing DTR at some point the rest of the season, even if it's in the season finale or one of the final 2 games.
Well, Mary Kay, I haven't seen a report of the Browns bringing in any kickers for tryouts, so I would assume to say that Dustin Hopkins is safe. How long do you think, if he continues to have the yips, as people would like to call it, how long do you think until they maybe pull the plug or bring somebody else in for competition? What do you think they do?
Well, right now, Kevin Stefanski is standing firmly behind Dustin Hopkins. They believe it's just one of those kicking slumps that some of these guys get into. He's got a long body of work that says that this is not who he is. He feels confident. He believes he's going to be able to kick out of it. But certainly you look at those numbers, and it's shocking compared to what he did last season when he made 33 of 36 field goals, including 8 of 8 from 50 plus. He was certainly in the flow, certainly in the zone last year. He's not in it right now. He does have some kind of a yip going on. Something is not right. And, I don't know if it has anything to do with the fact that he doesn't have his regular long snapper in Charlie Hewitt out there. We haven't heard anything about that. So I don't really know. But the thing is, right now, they are not in a must-win type of situation. They're not trying to go out and win a playoff game or stay in playoff contention. So if you need to work through something like this, now is the time. And I was kidding around the other night with some of my colleagues. I said, what if they went to Dustin Hopkins? You know what, Dustin? Just go out there and miss a few kicks for us. Make it look like you're really trying really hard, but we don't really care if you miss a few kicks. We would really like to get a better draft pick. But no, that's not happening. I was just kind of, goofing around about that because it is so shocking that he has gone downhill like that this year.
We like a good conspiracy theory. By the way, Cade York looking awfully good last night.
You got to kick in front of your girl, man.
By the way, that was so annoying. Like nobody could that cheerleader have been hamming it more up for the camera? Did we need to hear about that story 18 times?
That's what we do.
All right,
that's what we do.
Yeah.
Mary Kay, you talked about the interceptions and being unacceptable. Is Kevin Stefanski, does he believe that he can somehow coach that part out of Jameis Winston, or do you believe that Kevin Stefanski has come to the conclusion, like a lot of other people, that is just a part of his game that just comes with the territory?
Well, it's a great question. And I think that's one of the reasons why I advocated playing Jameis the rest of the season, because he does say that he has put that or tried to put that behind him. And I think that now he's got 4 more chances to go out and prove that he has. So I do think that it would be worthwhile to continue to see if he can play clean football, because that is what they would need from him if they're going to give him another chance next season. So I'd like to see more of him. I don't necessarily feel like playing DTR is the right thing to do right now, just because why not see if Jameis can come back next season and do something for you, even if it's compete for the starting job.
Mary Kay, what do you have to say about the running game? Like, why is it that the running game has went from what it was last year to what it is this year, and how do you think they fix it moving forward, maybe in the offseason?
Well, I think that they'll probably have to add to the running back room and reevaluate that whole situation. But also, they're not running the ball that much. And I do think that they probably should run the ball more. They have the offensive line to block for the running game. Those guys are talking about wanting to run the ball more, wishing that they would run the ball more. I think it would take some pressure off of Jameis Winston. But if you look at Ken Dorsey, that was one of the reasons why I think he probably got fired by the Buffalo Bills last year, is because he wasn't running the ball, and he's probably not running it enough this year. So I think that's something to keep an eye on and something that they're going to have to rectify at least next season.
Mary Kay, we appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, thanks, Mary Kay.
That was Mary Kay Cabot of Cleveland.com. Guys, we're going to pivot and talk a little Cavs after a quick word from our sponsor, Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike on other apps, with Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you can watch all the winnings roll in. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can even double your money if one of your picks doesn't hit. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use promo code LOCKEDONNFL and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONNFL on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't have to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game when you want. Speaking of running the game, Bull,
yes,
NBA.com released its updated power rankings, which they do every Monday. And for the first time this season, the Cleveland Cavaliers came in at #1 on the NBA.com power rankings. Here's the top 5 as you see it on your screen. The Cavs at #1, the Celtics at #2, the Thunder at #3, the Mavericks at #4, and the Grizzlies at #5. Bull, there are a lot of different reasons NBA.com may have catapulted the Cavs to #1. They have the best record in basketball. They have one of the best offenses. It could be their depth. It could be the internal improvement. In your mind, what is the one thing that catapulted the Cavs up in front of the Celtics and the Thunder this week to officially get them the #1 spot in the power ranking?
I think it's 2 things. The first one is an obvious one, that when you do, for whatever they're worth, when you do power rankings early in the season, you're basing it on your expectations for the team. So, like, if you think a team's good, but they start 1-4, well, you're still going to have them near the top because it's too early in the season. So I think part of the reason that the Cavs are now higher is they've moved them ahead of teams that they've just played better against, and now we're almost at the 1/3 point of the season. I think the Cavs are 2 games away from being at the 1/3 point of the season. 27 games, 54, that's 81, right? 81.
Oh, they're just a quarter point, essentially. A little more than a quarter. Between a quarter and a third.
Well, 27 games will be a third. They're 2 games away from 20.
Yeah, so they're between
games.
a quarter
they're
and a third.
They're almost at a third,
like
right? So, yes. And so you're deep enough into the season that you're going to do these where this season is going to be a more important factor than what you thought coming into the season. And so, ultimately, the Cavs have the best record, so they're #1. But I think the reason that really cements it is the emergence of Evan Mobley. Obviously, almost everybody's playing well on the Cavs. Donovan Mitchell's having at least to be in the conversation for MVP. The team is deep. There's a lot of things. But Evan Mobley, especially the way he played against, was it Charlotte?
Charlotte.
With the 41 points. He's been great all year.
Yeah.
But that was something we've never seen. That was his best game of his career to this point.
Yeah.
And he looked like a legitimate superstar, like an elite player in that game. Is he going to be that every night? No, he may just, for this whole season, he's played like an all-star, at the very least a borderline all-star. But that game, he looked like, he could win an MVP the way he played that night. We've never seen him play at that level. And so I think the way he's raised his game, and there's been no lull. It's like all season, I'm not saying every game's been great, but he's at least been solid every game. But coming off this game, I don't know, man. Because if he can become the legitimate number 2 guy or the 1B to Donovan's 1A, then the Cavs can play with anyone. Their only flaw as a team right now appears to be their ability to guard the perimeter against really big teams, and that's going to be something they're going to have to deal with, and that might ultimately, kill them when it comes to Boston in the playoffs. But I think this is a sign that Evan Mobley has arrived, which a lot of people thought he could, and he's arrived in a big way, making the Cavs way more legitimate than I think a lot of people thought, including certainly me, coming into the season.
Good on you.
Yeah.
Good on you, boy. I know you're a guy that hated basketball, meaningless basketball for quite some times, but man, to hear you say that, it was actually spot on.
I appreciate that.
So that was really good. I agree with everything that you said. One thing that I may add is that I do think the reason that they are ahead of a Boston as far as this power ranking goes, because it's a whole team. You got guys off the bench that's also playing really well. You think about the first time they played Boston, they had like 3 or 4 guys off the bench that was out.
Right. Yeah.
And I know when we played Boston, they had some starters out and things like that.
Yeah.
But with the Cavs, they're so deep. It's like that. You got the starting 5, but you also got like 4 or 5 guys off the bench that's also getting you double digits.
Right.
So I think from a team standpoint, that's why I would put them above a Boston right now, because of the simple fact that it's just not just a starting 5. It's literally the entire roster could come in and get you points.
I think I think what's happening right now is, it take a little bit for national media to wrap their head around certain things. Like, they're going to give certain teams like Boston, New York, they're going to give those guys the benefit of their doubt.
Where was New York on that? They was on that 5?
Probably 6 to 10.
I'll pop up the full thing. They weren't top 5, though.
New York is 15-9. Now, I think what you're seeing now is they're like, okay, the Cavs, they might be real. We wanted to see them. They wanted to see them play against Boston. Now that they split against Boston, it's 1-1. You can't use that against them. I think if you would have went 0-2 versus.
Knicks for 8, by the way. Sorry to cut you off, G. But
that's right. If also beating Denver recently.
They beat Denver at home, which was a good win, and then coupled with the fact that you see Evan Mobley get to 41. They're like, okay, that's 2 really good teams, one in the Western Conference. You did come back and you avenged that loss against the Celtics. So now you got a lot of different data that says, hey, the Cavs is not playing around right now. And I think the imperative is, I still, if you ask me, if you had to have a gun to my head, like, who are you picking in a 7-game series? I would, if the Cavs have home court advantage, I think now that I would flip and say that the Cavs would win that series against Boston in the 7-game series. I think, and I want to see what you got to say about Mikey. I think it's imperative that the Cavs get home court advantage throughout. If they can keep the pedal to the metal and consistently play and get home court advantage, and in a 7-game series, I think that's huge against the Celtics.
What's our record at home right now?
They've lost 1 game at home, right, Mike? The Hawks.
I believe to the Hawks is the only one.
I think it's their only loss at home. The Celtics would be favored in a 7-game series with the Cavs, even if the Cavs had home field.
I agree.
Home court.
Yeah. But
they should be, because they've proven it in the playoffs. The Cavs haven't.
I said that, but I would flip and say that I feel like if the Cavs do have home court advantage, I would pick the Cavs in the 7-game series.
If I had to pick right now, I would pick the Celtics. Now, I would say the Cavs can win that series, which I wouldn't have said last year.
Percentage chance.
I think I'd give them like a 42% chance.
If they have home court.
42.
Without
45 with home court, 40 without.
That's a coin flip series, which
I think
that's
what
teams in
it's
basketball.
what it is.
But I'd have to give the Celtics the edge because they have more playoff.
I would have to see the Cavs have more success against the taller. I need them to see a definitive plan of how they're going to guard taller wings and how they're going to score against taller wings. Once I see that, you got me sold.
Brian, before you go, Mike, Brian Windhorst was on with us last week, and he made the point. He's like, guys, I get it. The Cavs are great. People want them to go all in, but the Celtics are the team to beat right now, and I don't think the Cavs are going to want to stay over the cap, so I don't think they're going to make a trade. And listen, Brian knows a million times more about basketball than I do. I'm not going to deny that. But I don't know. It was something that I think what put me over the top is the way Mobley played against Charlotte. Like I didn't know if he could ever play a game like that. I don't know.
They should go all in.
I think they should go all in because and again, I could be totally wrong.
No, you're right.
But I don't think the gap between them and Boston. I said I disagree with G that the Cavs would be.
But you said 45-55.
But I think the gap is not that big.
So what do you?
And I think if the Cavs made a trade
for
a wing player who a solid scorer, but most importantly can play good perimeter defense.
Who's out there?
I think that could be the difference between them winning or not winning a Boston series.
Like Cam Johnson or Kyle
No, they don't
Kuzma?
have enough for Cam Johnson. They don't have a ton of trade assets.
They don't. That's the only problem. But I think they should go for it.
To your point, Bull, on that real quick, then I'll get back to the bigger topic at hand here. There's so much luck that goes into winning in the playoffs in basketball. You have to be healthy at the right time.
Yeah.
Like the Raptors when they won with Kawhi.
Yeah.
Do they beat the Warriors if Klay Thompson doesn't tear his Achilles and they have Kevin Durant? Like,
no.
So much luck goes into it that when you have a chance and when you're good enough, and the Cavs, whether you think they're there already or right on the precipice, they're right in that conversation. Hell, they're first in the NBA.com power rankings at that 27% of the season mark.
Yeah.
If you're there, I don't think you can play it passive. I just, philosophically speaking, I don't think you can play it passive or just stand still when you're that close.
Right.
And unless you feel you have the perfect championship roster already,
right,
I
which
don't
they
think
don't.
any of us.
There's one piece
I
they
agree.
need.
So I don't
see
know what the
this?
perfect move out there is. I don't think there's an obvious move on paper that this makes too much sense not to do. They don't have a ton of assets, and I don't want to. We said this last week when we talked about trades.
Yeah.
They have enough assets. They have one bullet to fire. I'm not just shooting just to shoot.
Right.
You have to make sure it's the right fit.
Yeah.
But back to your point on the power rankings real quick. I think when you get to this point of the season, when you go into a season, you have these preconceived ideas of teams and what they're supposed to be, what they're going to be. And you need a certain number of data points before you can actually change.
That's right.
And believe. And for the first couple of weeks, even when they were 14-0, it's like, well, it's still just 15 games. It's not a big enough sample size to fully convince yourselves. But when you look at the Cavs, right now in the NBA, they have the second best offensive rating in basketball, the 9th best defensive rating, they're second overall in net rating. They have a top 10 pace. When they lose games, it's simply the other teams have made more shots. They're still giving up the same quality of looks. They're just making more.
Mike, sorry to cut you off.
It's the right move. They're the best team in basketball right now.
Do those statistics, those ratings, do they factor into the quality of the opponent or no?
No, it's based off possessions, so it's even across the board. So it's per 100 possessions. But when you look at teams, there's no perfect stat in any sport.
Yeah.
When you look at teams that have won at the highest levels over the last 20 years, they always rank high in net rating. And defensive rating, they're always in the top 10-ish. You don't have to be a top 5 defense.
Yeah, right.
But you can't be 17, 18, 19.
No. I had Joe Varden on my podcast today. It'll be out later today. Joe obviously covered the Cavs when LeBron was here. Now he just covers the NBA. He's all over the place. And one of the big reasons I wanted him on, besides the fact that obviously he knows the Cavs well, is he's covering all these other teams. So he has a feel for where the Cavs stack up. And he felt like, he said to me, he's like, the only thing I'm worried about with the Cavs is their ability to defend big teams at the perimeter. And he's like, I think Dean Wade could do it. He just doesn't stay on the floor often enough. So I'd like to have Dean Wade as the backup guy doing that. So if he's there, all right, you got another guy. But if he's not, like they can't rely on Dean Wade being that guy. He's just too injury prone.
Yeah, Karis LeVert is shown to be slightly injury prone. He's another. Your top 2 guys off the bench are injured all the time.
Yeah.
And look, and I get that people want to have this thing where we're going to time it up perfect, where the stars are going to line up.
Yeah.
We're going to have Donovan, he signs. We'll stay under the luxury tax till then. Listen, at some points in time, we all know in life, something happens and you got to plan for it. Hey, your water heater went out. Did you plan for that?
No.
No, right? But you got to get it done. And right now, it's an opportunity to do something because I don't think the Cavs expected themselves to be this good this early. No. And the thing about game plans and peaking, I always say this: the Thunder had 3 MVPs on one squad. They had Durant, Harden, Westbrook.
Ain't that crazy?
In their prime, and guess how many championships they won?
0.
Yeah.
Hey,
None.
do you know why that team got broken up, G, by the way? Do you, honest to God, remember why?
It started with James Harden.
James Harden.
But do you remember why they broke it up? And this goes back to when you're in a
Harden
championship
wanted to
winner.
start?
They lost to Kobe in the one or no?
They did not want to give James Harden $12 million more dollars. Like James Harden wanted $12 million more than what they had offered, and they wouldn't go up $12 million. Which back then, $12 million is not $12 million now. Granted,
Sure.
but that was the number. $12 million is what broke up that big three.
And think about it.
They went to one finals.
Those guys, and they had a young Ibaka at the time, a defensive year player, caliber player.
Sabalosha.
They had the roster. They had rebuilt it the right way. But you don't
That was my squad.
do not make short-sighted moves. It's just like I get the financial aspects of it. The financial aspects don't run sports. Like it doesn't. Like if Dan Gilbert wakes up tomorrow and is like, man, I really didn't want to get in a luxury tax, bro. We remember you from 2016.
Yeah, he has not been afraid in the past to do it. And listen, we don't know what's going to happen. They can make a big trade and then one of their key players can get hurt in the playoffs, they can get screwed.
Right.
But you know what? What if they don't go for it this year and everybody stays healthy? Because they're like, well, next year. And then next year Mitchell gets hurt. And then Mobley gets hurt the year after that. And this was their best chance to potentially win it. I know they're not the favorites, but they can't be that far behind the favorites. So you got to go for it.
When you go back and you look at the Miami Heat, who made the championship in the bubble, and granted the bubble was weird circumstances.
Yeah.
They had a chance after that to then push some more chips in and kind of improve the roster in some areas that hadn't.
Yeah.
And they have still had success. They made the finals as an 8 seed, so they've still done well. However, that looked like a team that could have been back in the playoffs. I mean, in the championship conversation year after year. And granted, they made it, but that was an improbable run as an 8 seed upsetting a 1. You just don't know how long that window is going to stay open. And when it's there, you kind of have to go for it. And to the luxury tax conversation, it's not necessarily this year that's going to screw them. They could go in this year. It just starts that clock a year earlier than anticipated. And with the extensions kicking into Mobley and Allen and the other guys down the road, that last year is where it gets super dicey that they're kind of scared of. So it's actually not an immediate problem. But when you're looking 4 or 5 years down the road, I don't know how you could punt on a chance. And punt's not the right word because they're in the conversation as is currently constructed.
Right. Yeah.
But if you have an opportunity to improve and catapult yourself and lock yourself into that elite tier, and you don't because of something 4 or 5 years down the road, it just doesn't look good from an optic standpoint, even if it may actually be the smart basketball move.
And the two, so let's because I don't
basketball move,
money
move.
I think
well,
a lot.
You know what I'm saying, money move.
I think a lot of people, because we do Cavs, we're sporadic on it a little bit. Some people might have missed, like what names. Like there isn't that many names out there, and the Cavs don't have that many assets. But what names we talked about?
Let me
two of them
throw
last
one
week that could move the needle.
Let me throw one. This would move the needle, G. I'm glad you asked this before Mike goes because I don't think you've mentioned his name recently, and I don't see how the Cavs could get him. But Joe mentioned this to me, and we were out of time, so I couldn't really follow up with him. But he mentioned Zach LaVine.
What?
So someone actually has mentioned Zach LaVine to me before as a.
How could they get him?
They said the person who mentioned this to me.
Yeah.
Said they weren't 100% confident Darius could be your number 2 scoring option in the playoffs. So if you
saying Darius part of the trade?
No. But he said the reason because LaVine he's not a big, he doesn't defend. He doesn't fit what you're looking for whatsoever.
All right.
But he goes, maybe that's a guy you consider because this one particular person didn't necessarily trust Darius being the number 2 scorer on a deep playoff caliber run team.
It is interesting. I didn't know he was a bad defender, but
plays no defense and he's 6'4".
So. But he's never been on a good team, right?
6'4"? I thought he was
6'5".
I thought he was 6'6". You know, that's exactly the height. They make everybody.
As good as LaVine is offensively, you don't think it's a good fit?
He's listed at 6'5", so my bad. But he's not like that prototypical 6'7", 6'8".
But so he doesn't solve that issue. But you don't.
He's a really good offensive player. Really
way better than any of these other guys we've talked about.
From an offensive standpoint,
yes.
Does he solve the issue? No.
Who is the best fit for the Cavs?
I told you guys, Herb Jones is my ideal scenario.
No, but even including guys you're not sure they can get.
I mean, Jimmy Butler.
LeBron James.
Who, by the way, Shams reported this morning that the Heat are open to listening to trade offers for Jimmy Butler.
Would Jimmy Butler be a chemistry issue?
They don't have any. They're nowhere near enough assets to get him. But
would he be? I'm just curious. Would he be a chem? I get nervous getting guys that are that big.
Playoff Jimmy Butler is elite. I don't care what you have to do. Like, if you could get him on this team, you'd do it.
All right, so who's the next guy?
We're talking the unrealistic ones, Cam Johnson. He's actually the perfect fit.
He's the perfect fit.
He's the perfect
You
fit.
just don't think it's possible.
The Nets said they want 2 first-round picks. The Cavs, as a starting point, the Cavs legitimately
They say
don't
they
have
want that. Would anybody give up 2 first-round picks for him?
Yeah, he's having the best season of his career. He's on a great contract.
Damn, why don't the Cavs
He's
have 2
6'8".
Well, they wouldn't have Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
We can't trade none of them first yet. Them 2065 picks.
This
20,
is a
20,
bullshit rule. You can't trade back-to-back.
Dang.
Change that rule.
2031's the first.
Cavs can trade their
they
next
could
10 draft picks available.
Man, 2031. That's wild.
But Cam Johnson is the on paper legitimate perfect basketball fit.
All right, so the best guy you think they could realistically get is Herb Jones.
I think Herb Jones for the asking price. Unless you want Brandon Ingram. I
He
like
with the
Herb Jones
Pelicans,
over
right?
Brandon Ingram. They're both with the Pelicans.
No, what's the other dude? What's the shooter?
They're not trading Trey Murphy.
That's
Yeah,
the
they ain't
one.
doing that.
That's the one.
Is Herb Jones, could Herb Jones, as silly as this may sound, be the difference, be the X factor between winning in 7 and losing in 7 against the Celtics?
Yeah, I actually do think he could. Genuinely speaking.
Then go get him.
I really
thought
do.
he was a defensive guy. He ain't the defensive guy for them.
No,
he is, right?
Very,
Okay.
very good defensive.
Where
what
is
I
he
thought.
defensively? Like in terms of perimeter defenders, is he elite? Is he very good? Like what?
No, he's very, very. He was. Did he make second team all defense last year?
Either last year or 2 years ago, they was talking about him. He was like either first or second team.
He's not old
He
either,
made
right?
no. He made
No, he's
the all.
young.
He made the All NBA defensive first team last year.
Okay, so he's elite.
We're talking elite level defender.
All right, and he's young, right?
How tall is he?
He's 6'7" with a 6'11" wingspan.
But he's not that great offensively,
Plus,
right?
Decent shooter.
yeah, but they don't need him to be great offensively.
Yeah,
They
you
just
do.
need him not to be a liability.
Isaac Okoro.
Yeah, but he's not. He's better than Isaac Okoro.
He's
bigger
bigger
than
and a
Isaac
better
Okoro.
defender than I.
What are you looking at? What's the cost for him?
What you giving him?
Considering this is a season, and we got Aditi, so last point in the Cavs will bring Aditi in, but
Could Isaac Okoro be part of a trade?
potentially.
Like, if you get Herb Jones, do you need Isaac Okoro?
I'd take him.
No. I mean, if you'd have to get – so New Orleans would – I'll try to make this as simple as possible.
Yeah.
If New Orleans is going to blow it up.
Right.
They're not going to want to take on Okoro, who's on a 3-year deal.
Oh, it is,
So I think
right.
Karis LeVert is part of the deal because he's an expiring contract. You throw George Niang in and the first-round pick.
But
You'd rather trade Okoro than
but
You'd
that-
rather, but does
LeVert,
the other
yeah.
team want Okoro?
Don't you get worse offensively though if you trade Karis LeVert?
It's not a perfect fit, G. Like, there's not a – you just don't have the – like, let me ask you a question, G. What team – if you want to put together the Cavs' ideal package, Niang, Okoro, and a 2031 first, like, what's that getting you?
Nothing.
A bag
So
of
you have to
chips.
give something to get something. That's the Cavs issue.
That's the tough
We got a
part.
D
All
though,
right.
so let's do a. Also, Jason and I, Cavs show 7 o'clock tonight. Make sure you guys tune into that. That'll be
Yep.
new on the UCSS channel. And before we bring in Aditi, her interview is sponsored by Ice Shaker. I know you guys like me haven't finished your holiday shopping, and if you have a sports fan in your life, we have the perfect gift for that person. Perhaps you've heard of the Ice Shaker. Ice Shaker is now officially licensed with the NFL, NHL, NBA, NCAA, and Major League Baseball, which makes it the ideal gift. It was created by and used by the Gronkowski brothers. Ice Shaker sold over 1 million bottles. They've changed the game with their workout bottles, and this is the gift you've been looking for. Right now, if you go to iceshaker.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL at checkout, you can save 25% on your order. It's customizable. You can send us your logo or check them out, our custom shop, to customize your favorite bottle. Turnaround time on the custom bottles, just 3 to 5 business days. The agitator works as a strainer as well and makes it a very solid tailgating cup, too, for mixed drinks. Order your team-branded bottles today at iceshaker.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for 25% off your order. Ice Shaker, show your support for your favorite teams with the best branded workout bottle on the market, and that is the Ice Shaker. How you doing today, Aditi?
I am awesome. Thanks, guys.
What's up?
Aditi? Yeah, there was
Sounds
something
like a
in the way
little
you
bit of a
said that
delay.
makes me think you're not as awesome as you say you are.
No, I am. Well, because I just wanted to say that it was so good to see Baker, and Baker's doing so well. And then I was sort of mentally wrestling with whether Adam really wants to hear that or not. And so do I bring it up? Do I not? And that's kind of what was happening. If there was a thought bubble, you would have seen a thought bubble saying, do I say I'm awesome because it was so good to see Baker, or do I
Yeah.
not?
Listen,
That's what happened.
I have credited Baker throughout the year. He has done a nice job. He is playing well. I continue to maintain he would have never played this well in Cleveland because he needed the humbling and to hit the low. He hit the bottom of the barrel. And I mean, I don't know him personally. Obviously, I can't say it for sure. This is just my opinion. He never played this well in Cleveland People try and revisionist history to say he played this well in Cleveland. But I will say that as well as he's playing, he still turns the ball over too much, which will continue to be a problem and will haunt him when they actually play good teams, which they don't in their division when they get to the playoffs.
But this is a team that, P.S., beat the Eagles earlier in the year, beat the Lions, and even without two of their best players, in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, took the Chiefs to overtime. So, I mean, they're decimated by injury here. You are completely correct, and Baker will tell you it himself, as he said to me on Friday, that he doesn't grow the same way if he doesn't go through what he went through. Being in limbo in Cleveland, then being traded to an organization that was in the middle of the most dysfunction that there was, losing his starting spot, being sent to LA in the being waived, then getting those 5 weeks, those 5 games in LA, then having to prove himself last year and win a job. All of that, he openly admits, had an enormous impact on helping him grow up. I mean, he used the phrase. He said it's part of growing up. But I'll tell you this. He is absolutely loved. He is absolutely wanted. Todd Bowles, the general manager, the entire front office, his teammates, everybody makes a point of saying that. You can tell that he feels it. And he said, look, he's always going to be himself. I actually said this on Instagram this morning when I made a little couple paragraphs about this. He's always going to have a chip on his shoulder. He's always going to love to prove the doubters wrong. He's always going to be insanely intense and passionate. He's always going to take every slight personally. But he's not feeling that he has to prove himself as much as he has the last few years. He knows that he's loved. He knows that he's wanted. And he's also doing much better at not trying to do too much. And that was his quote. He says, I'm not trying to do too much. We know that that's what sunk him his last year in Cleveland, where he had the torn labrum and he just felt like he had to do everything by himself. And, that's not a way to operate. So I just think we'll continue to see growth. And look, part of the game for guys like him, guys like a Ben Roethlisberger, you think you're always in the game. You're always going to try something. There is a magic in throwing the ball away to live to see another down, but there's also an aggressiveness that I want to make a play and help my team. And I think that as you get older, you learn how to channel that better, and he will. He will. But it was really good to see him. And you know what? It was just on a personal level. It's always nice to see somebody who was kicked to the curb find a home where people love him and appreciate him and let him be him. Because look, he certainly is an acquired taste, right? But the truth is that people who love him really, really, really love him. And it's nice to see him in a place where he is really, really loved.
Aditi, that's how I feel about the UCSS. Kicked to the curb, found a place that I love. By the way, when you got some money, it's something about signing an over $100 million contract that you feel a sense of comfort. But we're not going to
I wouldn't know about that. I don't know, Tyvis. You'll have to speak from your personal experience. I wouldn't know either.
I wouldn't know. I was trying to steal money from the NFL for 4 years. They wouldn't give it to me. But anyways, about the Kansas City Chiefs. We got the Kansas City Chiefs coming up. The last time the Browns played them, it actually was closer than a lot of people anticipated, to the point where the Browns were winning the game. When you see this matchup, I know that Kansas City has been escaping some of these games, and I know the Browns are coming off of this loss, but have had moments where they've looked really good. What are you expecting to see out of this? And is there a way that you see the Browns actually pulling the upset?
Okay, so anything is in the realm of possibility. And when I say in the realm of possibility, that means it is not impossible. But let's go backwards for a minute. When you look at the Chiefs, do you sit here and say, this is a really great team, and great teams expect to win. Great teams expect the ball to bounce that way. Great teams don't get tight late in games. Great teams find any way to win, even if it's their third kicker of the year having to hit a game winner that doinks off of an upright. Do you say that? Or do you sit here and say, my goodness, the Chiefs are really skating and it's going to catch up with them?
They living right.
I mean, how are you looking at
I
it?
say that
I
they
go
living
the first
right.
one. I mean, there's always some level of luck when you win as much as they do.
They living
but
right.
I think it's more the first than the second for me.
They living right.
They get lucky.
Luck.
You know, and it's also
the blocked field goal against Chicago was
crazy.
That's ridiculous. Like, come on now.
Which one do you think it is?
When
ridiculous.
you have amazing player, like you just sort of expect when you've done it as much as they have over the last few years, you expect somebody is going to make a play. And I'll tell you the thing that I like the most, and it's sort of like that intangible woo-woo stuff. But I remember a few years ago, the Ravens were 14-2, and I don't think they were challenged all year. Maybe they played one close game in those 14 wins.
Yeah.
You come to the playoffs, the Titans come to Baltimore, and the Ravens lost. They hadn't been tested. They hadn't had their backs against the wall and had to gut out a win in some sort of crazy way where some sort of unexpected person had to come up with the big play. The Chiefs have done that all year. They're never going to be in a moment where they're going to look around and say, crap, what do we do now? So I'm kind of with you on that one, Adam, and I almost feel like that's harder. It takes me back to, so for Westwood One last year, I was on the sideline for the Chiefs-Bills game, and the Bills were up, but then in the fourth quarter, it was a close game, the Bills were up, but in the fourth quarter, it was a marked difference on the two sidelines. The Chiefs, you felt like just went, we have them right where we want them. The Bills, meanwhile, you could see everyone just looked a little tenser on the bench. The coaches, when they're talking on the headsets, were suddenly talking a lot more fast. And there was a lot more freneticness to what was happening there. That was getting tight. That was getting nervous. So now you sit here and you're like, okay, the Chiefs haven't really run all over anybody. And yeah, the Browns have had these moments. So can the Browns possibly put something together? Not if they're throwing the ball 58 times a game. Okay. You talk about turnovers. Not if Jameis is keeping both teams in the game. And not if things are, again, like super duper close at the end of the game, because that's when the Chiefs are magical. And what experience do these Browns have in playing right in the last 5 minutes?
By the way, real quick before you go, the way you described the Bills.
Oh, that
Chiefs,
was it? Wow.
What?
Yeah.
No, he said before.
No, you're like, quick before you go.
Before you
G asked you a
Before he
question.
speaks.
Before G asked you a question.
I was like, you're kicking me out?
This is started, dog.
The way you described the Chiefs Bills reminds me of exactly what's going on with Ohio State, Michigan the last 4 years, right?
Yeah.
Ryan Day gets tight as a drum at the end of the games because he's softer than Sharman, where Michigan's playing loose and free.
Poor Tyvis.
Those are facts.
Hey, Tyvis, do you feel bad about Kirk Herbstreit's kid going to Michigan? Like, is that one? Like, would you ever let one of your kids go to Michigan?
First of all, no, I wouldn't, but I understand why that's happening because, I mean, they just got a 5-star kid, Tavian St. Clair from Bell Fountain, that's coming in 2025. Why would you take another 3-star in the same class? Actually, in 2011, Cardale Jones and Braxton Miller were both in the same class coming in at Ohio State together. Cardale had to go to a military school just so they can offset him because you don't never really want two quarterbacks in the same class. So with this situation, you've already got a 5-star coming in. I don't even think they even offered another kid. So he did the right thing by going to the Wolverines.
Well, Michigan has a 5-star too.
Yeah, but it's different though. Like, why would he?
Yeah, but you shouldn't be afraid. You shouldn't be afraid of competing. You know, like that's my feeling on it. At some point, you're going to have to beat out somebody for a job. And so you've got to at least try.
We can't even get Kirk to give an opinion anymore. He's scared to give an opinion because he's afraid he's going to get criticized. So
Didn't he get criticized? He did something.
Everybody gets criticized. You're in the media, you get criticized. It's part of the job.
Well,
anyway, sorry, G. I stole your thunder.
I don't toe the line. Go ahead, G.
Well, you know, I didn't. We was doing Kirk. You're doing fine.
Joe, you been stealing at the grocery store?
Huh?
Eating grapes before you check out? Have you been eating ham before you check out? Grapes
No,
before you check out?
That was me. I did the ham. The ham was me.
So I used to go with my grandma. Speaking of my grandmother, she loved the color green. You should wear green more often.
Ooh, thanks. Okay.
Yeah, green is the color of royalty. And listen, the lighting looks good and everything. I was like, okay, Aditi.
You know, I was going to say, I feel like we got to be, you know, you're not sure what you could say these days because I was going to say that Aditi looks particularly nice today, but I'm afraid to say it.
Yeah, that's
You-
funny because I was
Why
going to
are
say
you
the same
afraid to say
thing.
that?
I was actually
Make
going to
your
say the
friend feel
same
good.
thing, but I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to go there.
I know it.
I'm not even gonna go there.
I went there.
I was going to start off my comment and say she's glowing today.
She is glowing.
But I was like, you know what? I don't even want to go there.
Hey,
I know.
but
Well,
you
you went
know
there
what?
now, so
Guys, I think I got sun for the first time in like 4 weeks. I was in Tampa. It was sunny.
Oh,
you know,
that's right.
add
Lucky
a little
you.
color to the skin. I think that's what happened.
See,
right?
y'all just gotta learn not to do it in a creepy way.
That's
you just
true.
gotta come out and just,
Yeah.
hey, you're just, hey man, I like the color green. But I will say this: we all like the color
you
green.
made the smooth transition for
Smooth
us.
transition.
Yeah.
You talked about Baker a little bit in throwing the football and learning when to say when, but there's a little excitement level to it. I mean, we got a guy, Jameis Winston, that throws for like 500 yards, and the interception against the Steelers broke me. The defensive line, the defensive tackle interception broke me because it was like, I was like, yeah, sometimes as a quarterback, you just have to know what the game is looking like. And at that point, before that, prior to that, Russell Wilson was struggling a little bit. The Boo Birds even came out a little bit.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, the Browns are in a position where they can, if they don't give the ball to the Steelers, you may find a way to stay in this football game. The interception happens, they come down to score. I asked Mary Kay this question. Do you think that is able to be coached out of a player? Like that thing with interceptions, or is it just part of what that player is and you got to accept it?
Well, you already asked Mary Kay. What do you like, pitting us against each other? No, you want to compare Mary Kay's answer to mine?
I like to get.
I don't roll that way. I like Mary Kay.
I like to get a consensus. I like to get it. Now I can tell you what Mary Kay said.
I think she knows that team better than anyone.
Like I want to get a consensus. I like to crowdsource my answers so I can come up with a formulated opinion.
You sure you're not trying to start a cat fight here?
Let's try to set it up. He's like he was buttering me up with that compliment earlier. I know what G is doing. He ain't slick. He gonna
now
run
he's
this back.
getting me in trouble. This is almost as bad as when Mikey asked me about the mustache. My goodness, I need preparation to come on.
Thank God
the
that
show.
thing's gone.
Okay. You know who else who needs to lose a mustache? Aiden O'Connell, the Raiders quarterback. Have you seen that?
I think that's why he got hurt. Because of that stupid mustache.
I told Antonio Pierce. I said you got to tell him to get rid of that thing. My goodness. But anyway, all right, moving right along. I would like to think that anybody can be coached. You mentioned Russell Wilson. Look at how well Russell Wilson is playing within Arthur Smith's system. And that's the key, within Arthur Smith's system and not freelancing and doing his own thing and running around and trying to throw downfield to perhaps not the best effect. So you would like to think that. But I told you guys last week, this is Jameis's game. Jameis keeps both teams in a game. That's sort of who he is. And I don't think that you are doing him any favors when you are throwing the ball as much as you are throwing the ball, and you are not getting your run game to do anything. I mean, that is not a pretty pass completion percentage. But again, there is a sweet spot, and throwing the ball 58 times, throwing the ball 50 times, that's not the sweet spot. Where's the run game? Where's the play action pass game?
Yeah, that's another thing where that feature,
they haven't been able to run.
That feature, the Kevin Stefanski playbook of the play action pass, which eliminates some of these pass rushes, it just seems to not be there anymore. Obviously,
they're not running any play action.
You need to run. I'll come back to the Bucs since I just had them and talking to Baker Mayfield. The Bucs haven't been able to run the ball in like 10 years. Now this year, finally, behind Rashad White and the rookie Bucky Irving, who's a tremendous kid. He got hurt. I hope he's okay.
Is he going to miss the next
game? I mean, he's been monstrous for them. But in any case, they finally have a run game, a great run game. And as Baker was saying, the run game is what opens up everything. It changes the way the teams can play defense. Now, they're still going to cloud Mike Evans. They're still going to try to double him. But the looks that you get are completely different when you need to respect a run game. If the Browns can't run the ball, then obviously Jameis is being put in a much worse position because teams don't have to respect the run.
Yeah.
I mean, it all goes hand in hand. And
they're gonna have to
I think Jameis would be better on the interception front if the Browns were actually running the ball.
Do you think that it's the Browns don't have the running backs? Do you think it's the scheme? What do you think is the reason why the Browns have not been able to run the ball effectively this year?
I think some of it has to do with run design, right? With run play design. I think some of it is the line isn't quite as disciplined and on its P's and Q's as it was with Bill Callahan. And you have to call the run to run. Like you have to be more committed and more consciously trying to run the ball if you want to succeed at running the ball. How many times do we say this? Like a run in the first quarter might go for 3 yards, and that same run in the third quarter you hope goes for 8 or maybe goes for 12. Part of why Ken Dorsey was replaced by Joe Brady in Buffalo is because Buffalo wanted to be more committed to running the ball, which they were. And that was what they did much better when they made that change. So you would think, or you would expect, that Ken Dorsey has learned from that's a big piece of what offenses need to do to be successful, and especially an offense that is the Cleveland Browns that plays in the AFC North.
Now, they were, until those last 2 drives for the Browns, they were down by 20 points going into those last 2 drives. And until that point, they were pretty balanced this past week. I think it was like 22 passes, 18 runs, something like that. And then those last 2 drives, it was 13-3 pass because they're down big, I understand. But
right.
in general, they haven't, outside of the 2 Steeler games.
In general, I'm saying just
yes.
specifically in general, this is not a team that has shown a great commitment to running the ball.
No,
and again, when you haven't run the ball so well, you can't just expect to turn it on one week. Running the ball requires commitment.
Aditi, did you hear the comments Joe Burrow made after the game yesterday about T. Higgins?
That he hopes that he's back and they want to run it back together?
He didn't say he hopes that he's back. He said, I can't remember the exact words, but he basically said he's going to be back. Insinuated that he's going to be involved in the negotiation in some way. Like he was putting it out there that the Bengals better bring him back. Is that meaningful to you in any way, or is it just nonsense?
He said,
I don't. Oh, sorry, Tyvis. Go ahead.
What did he say?
He said, I'm confident we're going to be able to do what it takes to get T. Higgins back. I know that I'm going to do what it takes to get him back.
I mean, players don't say things like that very often.
So Joe might be willing to sort of restructure his contract, create more cap room, move some things into a bonus, things like that. So that's what I'll do what I can do. He's obviously going to lobby for him. He obviously wants him back. I think that a player who speaks up so forcefully for his teammates is always a really good thing. But at the end of the day, is Mike Brown going to be able to and willing to pay T. Higgins and Jamar Chase when he's already paid Joe Burrow?
Well,
and
willing
clearly
to
his
is the only
defense
question.
Needs some help.
He is able to. The question is, will he be willing to? That's yeah, as you said.
Well, able to, because you have to think about the rest of the team too, right? I mean, there's a reason that Tom Brady was. Well, and that's my point. Like, you need to bring in some reinforcements. You need to improve your defense. You need to improve your run game. There are things that have to happen. Yeah. And look, we've seen it this year. Joe Burrow is lighting it up week after week after week. He may have never played better in his life, and yet what is their record?
Yeah, it's the defense.
They can't win on Joe Burrow's arm alone. They can't win on that pass game alone. They need to improve the rest of the team.
I hear you.
Aditi, do you think the Cleveland Browns need, either through the draft or free agency, do you think that they need an additional quarterback that is not on the roster right now?
I'm not, we keep kind of talking about this, and I guess last week, the way that I left it, so a few weeks ago I said, no, I want to see DTR. And then last week I said, sure, let Jameis finish it out and see what you have in him, and maybe he's your guy. But I tend to think the way that the rest of this roster is built, and if you want to ensure that you're bringing back guys like Joel Bitonio, you may need to upgrade at the quarterback position.
There it is.
And I don't know what that is. I mean, I'll be perfectly honest. I don't, is Sam Darnold an upgrade, because the Vikings have JJ. And so I don't think that, Sam Darnold is the guy that they should be locking up long term.
Dustin said that he would think about franchise tagging him because he plays so well, and JJ
Sam Darnold would be an upgrade, but I don't think the Browns can afford him. They have the second most over the cap for next year, but only 6. Well, it's going to be tricky.
Oh, so you're saying franchise tag Sam Darnold and make JJ McCarthy learn for another year?
Right. Yeah, since he was hurt.
I don't think that that's a bad idea either, because look, he has to get healthy too.
Yep.
And it takes a while off of that. So, and but I've never really understood this rush in playing quarterbacks right away.
No.
I like the Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre model. Yeah. I like the Patrick Mahomes sat behind Alex Smith model.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to learn.
Alex Smith becoming pretty good on TV and radio. He does a radio show on NFL radio, and I think NFL radio for the most part is trash, but he's really good on there. So anyway, thanks, Aditi. Great stuff.
He's a really smart guy too.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for the compliments, guys. I appreciate it.
You got it. Aditi's the best. We love her, and that was it. We're almost out of time, Mike.
Yeah, no super chats today for the first time in forever.
This show went kind of fast.
Flew by.
I just looked up and it was over.
Flew by.
And we didn't get to a topic. We'll save that for another day.
You went on a rant about
what did we not
Deshaun's
get to?
money and
biggest
whatnot.
offseason.
Oh, so I took up all the time with the rant.
A lot of it.
Oh, okay.
All right, what are we doing on overtime, Mike?
Yeah. We're going to preview Hard Knocks tonight. The Browns were the least featured team on the first episode of the AFC Hard Knocks because they played on Monday night against the Broncos. Tonight we'll see the Broncos game. I'm curious how they depict the Jameis, because it had the highs and the lows of Jameis. Then we'll also get the Steelers game. Your Bengals Bowl will probably be the least featured team this week, considering they played on Monday night.
Yep.
But we're going to talk about what we expect to learn, to see. Will we get another Roy Estevan early morning Thursday?
Almost missed it. Hold on. I got to say this because Director Steve would get mad. Shout out to the Ohio Bobcats, first time MAC champs, I think, since 1963.
Wow, you didn't mention it yesterday.
The Bobcats. We should have been in the college football playoff over the Buckeyes.
We'll see you at overtime.
And he went to Charlotte, got the upgraded bag.
How would y'all go with no coach?
See you later. Peace.